Are there any Polar Express passengers in need of refreshment?
Santa Claus and ho ho ho.
Where's the Tylenol? Welcome to the party, pal.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Son of a nutcracker!
Popo Shisho.
You know what's odd? It's when an Irish pub serves fish tacos. I don't get that. And I get a little heartburn, and I don't think I'm going to do that again.
That was weird.
Yes, it was, and it's from an even weirder movie. Welcome to Cheap Seat Critics. I am the host this week, and my lovely associates will announce themselves.
As always, I'm a geeky writer, hoping to bring some Christmas cheer, but you know.
And I'm Chris Maroon, and I just am full of Christmas cheer 24/7, you know.
And I'm Springs, and it sounds like these two are stealing my thunder.
I'm stealing it. And of course, I'm a character called Sinister Boy. Just gotta get it in there. Gotta get it in there. I missed it in the beginning. It's okay. We're fine. Yes, that delicious sounding quote you just heard in the beginning is from Christmas with the Kranks.
What a movie this was.
One of my favorite all-time Christmas movies.
Yeah.
And there's not a single ounce of sarcasm in that statement. Or that statement that I just stated.
Or the statement after that. Or the statement.
Precisely.
It's gonna go on infinitesimally into the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, just to keeping with the flow of things, we'll give a little bit of, I guess, our history with this. I think it's pretty limited. I'm going to start with Springs because he is probably the most familiar with this movie.
That's probably true. Oh God, how many times have I seen this movie now? Maybe 7, 8 times. It's not a yearly tradition to watch this movie, but it is, if it's an option around family or I'll say family. There's no friends who recommend this, but around family.
Yeah, don't lump me in that.
Yeah, we watch Christmas with the Kranks. Yeah, I mean, I don't know when it came out. I definitely did not see it the year it came out.
2004.
Yeah, I definitely did not see it then. I don't know, 2011 may have been the earliest I've seen it. But yeah. It's really it's a Christmas movie where Tim Allen. Yeah,
Buzz Lightyear himself.
If they had Tom Hanks in it, it would have been good.
Where Tim Allen does not play Santa.
How shocking!
And that's flaw number 1.
That's 1 point off. Okay. All right. Ryder, how about you? What history, if any, do you have with this movie?
I had absolutely nothing. So, it being a Christmas movie I had never seen, I was curious about it, and I regret everything about my curiosity.
Had you even heard of it before this?
Nope. Well, actually, no. No, I take that back. I have heard of it. It's infamous enough to where I've been like in the peripheral of conversations for it. I still knew nothing about it though. Virtually nothing. I just knew it was a movie, and that was it.
All right, Crimson.
All right. So maybe 3-4 years ago, I attempted to watch this on my own, and I say attempted because I never finished it. Pretty much when they got to the team up with the street, is when I dropped out. Because it was not very good. I'm sorry to say. So,
you don't have to apologize. I think that's what most people are saying about this movie. I think you're in good company this time.
It's definitely not a tradition to watch halfway through and then leave.
No.
So, one time.
Well, that's only the sign of masterpieces, right? Like you had to step away to get, you had your like halftime. You had to step away just to contemplate the first half of this film for 4 years because it was so amazing and so wonderful.
I would love it if there was like a Christmas tradition where you watch like half a movie and then just stop. You don't ever finish it.
That would back next year and watch it half again.
Yeah, just watch half of a movie every year. There you go.
That would be pretty fun. But yeah, I cannot describe how satisfying it is to watch the ending of a movie that you don't care about after several years.
Was it
You can't
everything you
describe
wanted
that
and more?
I felt nothing, almost.
Nothing.
I'll throw out a question because you guys brought that up and piqued my interest. Well, who would Tommy explain this?
Frohmeyer.
Yeah.
Frohmeyer. No doubt. Yeah.
Or Walt.
Or Walt. Yeah, no, Walt
Walt.
I think is a little too he's a little too like.
But if like Tom Hanks had like the prosthetics to make him look older, I think that would have been good.
I think he's old enough to fit that role now.
Well, now, but back in
Yeah,
2004.
Yeah, 2004. He was like coming off of Castaway, cut.
What was the question?
Who Tom Hanks would have played in this movie? Because
I think I'd love to see Tom Hanks as Vic.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll just do my quick little history because it's not much more than I have heard of this movie often. I've definitely heard it around. I didn't watch many Christmas stuff growing up. Just it was kind of just the classics, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Charlie Brown's, the Peanuts Christmas special, that the standard kid stuff and everything. So the live action stuff I didn't come to till many years, or a lot later.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, for what, because, you hear Christmas with the Kranks, and so I just always assumed it was like one of those, like, Steve Martin, like, family, like, imposition things where, like, they all come in,
Oh, boy.
And, yeah, and it's, like, awful, like, they're, like, terrible, terrible family members or something, and it's the whole thing. And so then when I was like, whoa, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be. It's much more unlikable. I think it would have been better if it was, like, a come together family of like like
Cheaper
national
by the dozen Christmas.
Yeah, that would have been good.
I'm kind of the opposite. I mean, you can just make a few tweaks to the first half of this movie, and you get a pretty decent horror movie.
You know what? That's fair. Yeah. I think that's what they were going for, and they just didn't. They couldn't commit enough.
I mean, they cast Laurie Strode as like leading lady, so
that was a surprise for me.
Yeah,
I was
she's trapped in her house with some outside forces.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched this, and I think there might be an echo chamber in here when you're watching this. So be forewarned. But
I'm sure Springs will be a little different than this.
Oh, hopefully.
Sure,
Springs, you gotta pull.
As well.
You gotta be the devil's advocate. Charm. Yeah, you gotta turn our Scrooges over.
Yeah, I'm gonna just put this out right now. Obviously, this is not to demean your Christmas. We just recommend that you watch something else for Christmas.
Yes.
Family traditions are family traditions.
Let's just say this: if you're gonna watch this and something else, chances are that something else is probably better. It's not no way discouraging, but
yes, please don't initially think right now this is a turnoff. To be like, oh well, they're gonna hate the whole thing.
Well, I recommend this to turn off.
I have been informed by a reliable source in this community right here, that there's at least 10 minutes of decent stuff in this movie. So, we will see.
An hour and 39-minute movie.
Yeah. Hey, it's decent. That's like, what, 10%? 5% maybe? I don't know. Anyways, without further ado, we give you Christmas with the Kranks.
I will preface one thing.
Why'd you do that? Come on, man.
Because
that was perfect.
I am aware this is a comedy. I'm going to ground certain scenarios, so don't think I'm a fool by ignoring that it's supposed to be stupid because it's a comedy. There we go.
Okay. You know what? That was okay. You're fine. Sorry I snapped at you there. You stepped on my thunder, man.
Try to wipe the tears away. Continue.
You know what happens. Step to me, you get burned. There you go. No, it's all joking. All joking. All joking. But anyways, without further ado, Christmas with the Kranks. We're beginning and the beginning.
As all stories do.
As all stories do.
They start out like if I remember correctly, in the first act here, like the first thing is that they're awake when their alarm goes off, like they're waiting for it to go off.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Wake
the
at
classic
8
like
in the
sitting in
morning.
bed. Yeah.
I don't really know why they were awake.
I assumed marriage
Apprehension.
problems or travel anxiety, but I then found out
Well, in
they
the
weren't
beginning
the
of
ones
this-
traveling. So
Yeah, I was gonna say they didn't have any traveling right now.
Yeah.
And their marriage seemed pretty good to me.
I'm not willing to go that far.
She was ready to get down.
Yeah. Well,
up until
she
that
was pretty
point
excited
was the thing.
about the relationship. I don't know, she was on board with him for a lot of it.
I think it's strained. It's not perfect.
Yeah, because I didn't assume that it was like a bad relationship. I just assumed it was strained with the opening intro. That's what it gave me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. And again, I didn't know what was going on for like the first 5 minutes. In my mind, the first 5 minutes, I'm still thinking, oh, the family's going to be coming. That's why they're so apprehensive. And then, oh, they're going to the airport. They're going to meet the family. And no, sending their daughter off to Peru, which is a weird way to start a Christmas movie.
Yeah, a little bit. I definitely
Shut it up.
A little left field.
Definitely different.
I don't know. What did you think of this first
The first
minutes? Yeah.
20 seconds of this movie, I thought was a very interesting start to show character of both Luther and Nora Crank.
Them sitting awake for the alarm.
Yes. Well, the first like kind of weird thing is Revolution Studios, one of the production companies that made the movie, decorated, I guess, their logo to be Christmasified. So that's just a little tidbit that was interesting. Some companies do that with themed movies. So, but the first thing that caught my attention was that we're looking at the bed nightstand table on Luther's side of the bed, and there's a photo of Nora and Blair. And that's pretty much it. It's just a little photo of Nora and Blair, which to me connects that, those are the two loves of Luther's life, his wife and daughter. But it doesn't have Luther in the photo at all, which to me is a stronger connection that Nora and Blair have, which helps for the rest of the movie. And I think that's a good start. Also, the reason why I think they're both awake in the morning is because of nerves, because they're sending their daughter to the Peace Corps.
Yeah, I assumed it was a bit of both. Like their relationship is strained, and also that because they're nervous about sending their daughter back. That's what I saw it retrospectively as. I also just want to say, I looked it up. Revolution Studios ceased operations and closed down in 2007. They cannot hurt you anymore.
Yeah. Wow. 3 years after this movie came out, I wonder if there's a connection.
Well, you see what else they made? Did they make any good stuff?
Look it up.
I'll look it up. Sure.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I remember the logo.
That's not the 1492, right? That was a different thing.
Yeah,
not 1492.
That was Dash.
They did Black Hawk Down.
Okay, that was overseas.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, Triple X.
Not very good.
Yeah, Vin Diesel one. They did Punch Drunk Love. That's a good one. That's a. They did Daddy Daycare.
There you go.
All right, so
now
it's
we're
like
talking.
early 2000s work.
Yeah. Anger Management, that Adam Sandler and Jack Nicholson movie.
So they didn't really have many big hits.
Daddy Daycare was a big hit.
I mean, it's kind of known, but I don't think it's like huge success.
Oh, they did the live action Peter Pan movie.
Oh.
Like the British one?
Oh, boy.
That was a big hit.
They did Hellboy as well. The original first Hellboy. 13 going on 30.
All right. They got a couple projects under their belt.
Yeah. White Chicks.
Christ.
They did Are We There Yet? You remember that one?
Nope.
Oh, yeah. With Ice Cube.
Ice Cube, yeah. The Fog.
Well, sounds like a lot. I don't know why.
It's starting to get kind of small. Oh, they did Click.
Oh, okay.
That based off of what you said when they died, that was probably one of their last movies.
They also did Zoom.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
You don't know Zoom?
You don't know Zoom?
Oh boy, we got a future movie.
You heard it here first.
Let me write that down.
Yeah.
I think everything we've listed off so far is a future movie.
Yeah, but one I'd actually put into the rotation.
Well,
they did Across the Universe.
Would, but
they did Across the Universe. That's one of my favorite movies.
Anyway, so Blair's being sent off to Peru.
We are watching a movie here. All right.
We have to know the history of this company to understand this movie.
It sounds like
lots of things had to occur for this movie to be made. Okay,
that's true. Let's see what happened for this company to be made in the first place. What's the
I know what killed this. I know what killed it. Revolution.
Okay.
They did Water Horse.
Water Horse was good.
Get out of here.
Another hot take from Sprinks over here.
I don't think critics or audience members like that movie.
It's from the I can't even read it. It's from somebody who worked on Chronicles of Narnia. So there you go. Anyways, back to Christmas with the Kranks. We only got like 5 minutes in here.
We spiraled out of control.
Yeah. So yes. So yeah, they send Blair off. She's going to the Peace Corps, which to people who don't know what the Peace Corps is, somebody want to enlighten what the Peace Corps is? I don't think that's really a big thing anymore.
Go watch a movie called Volunteers with Tom Hanks and John Candy.
There you go. That's what the Peace Corps is. It's a movie with John Candy and Tom Hanks.
In my 10th grade history class with my specific teacher. And then,
who was in the Peace Corps?
Yeah, he was.
Oh yeah.
Who went to Lesotho.
My apologies. That is a far easier thing for any random person out there listening to get a hold of.
Volunteers?
No, what Crimson's school teacher.
Oh yeah. You're sorry. I thought you were being ironic.
That's funny.
Yes. So it's a weird start to a movie that you know. It's an interest. I'm not gonna say it's bad, but it's an interesting start.
Yeah.
It's fine. Early 2000s.
Yeah.
Start.
They're definitely trying something different. Yeah. You know,
Sorry to step on toes.
No, go ahead.
I noticed in the beginning credits, which immediately went to my thought on writer, was it's based off of a book called Skipping Christmas.
By John Grisham.
Yeah, and I didn't know if that affects how writer would see the rest of the film, being that it's based off of book.
Nope. Adaptation doesn't come into my assessment.
Oh, okay.
So this is part of the reason why this is going to get back to my example for Civil War that I always go to. I will never say it's a good adaptation of the Civil War comic series or line, but it is a good movie within the context of the MCU, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So their adaptation doesn't factor into my assessment, typically. There's very rare times where it does, but even Lord of the Rings, I measure that on its own and not based on its adaptation. So
look out Kaguya-sama was for.
Oh, that's something.
Because you've been telling me that the manga's got a lot more than the.
Oh yeah, the manga has a lot more flesh for sure. I still love them. I still love them I still love them separately because the TV show does accomplish a lot on its own. As an adaptation, they do a good job. It's a good adaptation. That doesn't in of itself affect my assessment objectively of Love is War, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to get on a tangent. Hopefully, I'm going to keep this from getting on a tangent. But I'll throw my hat in that I think generally you have to kind of an adaptation, especially a movie or a show, or based on a book or whatever. It kind of stands on a different merit because you can't adapt the book entirely into story entirely into a movie anymore. You can do a movie into it. Well, you can do a movie into a book, but that's a whole different story. So it's I think it's fair to have a movie just be the movie and then have the book be its own thing. versus
I feel that's a much way to better assess films, because if I were to measure based on adaptation, that changes my scale around entirely. So yeah, I just in agreement. I guess that's it doesn't affect my assessment that this is based on a book, based off a book. I would be interested in reading the book, but
pretty good book.
I love that this movie is so good that we've talked more about anything other than this movie.
I know. Don't think I don't know what you're doing, Crimson. I know what's going on here.
Yeah. I do have one thing to bring up that's might be more external to the movie. Before we can just dive fully into it.
As long as you're talking about the movie, it's fine.
Yeah,
I don't
so
care.
it's written by a guy called Chris Columbus, and I found that to be very funny, because it's just Chris Columbus.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, do you know his work?
No,
Yeah,
I just thought the name was funny.
His name was funny. He did Home Alone.
Did he?
And Home Alone 2.
Really?
I think he did the first two Harry Potter movies.
He did. Yes, he did those as well.
This is probably my least favorite work so far of his.
And he
how
also
have the mighty have fallen? I don't.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Hold on. I don't know if he didn't direct it.
No.
He produced it. Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty.
He just threw money.
He did the screenplay.
Okay.
He did the screenplay.
Kranks.
Yeah, and he did that too. Yeah. It's done by Joe Roth. Who I'm not.
All right.
I'm not seeing a lot of credits here, but yeah.
Since we are doing the popcorn act structure, I'll throw in something. So when they're discussing the cruise, and specifically the charity
and you've been on a cruise
hospital, I have. I've also been on a Carnival cruise, which is the cruise they're going on for this. I don't know what boat they're taking. But the charity for the church and the children's hospital, I could not understand why Luther would veto every single aspect of Christmas in this.
Nor do I.
It has to be 100% no Christmas for this movie to work the way it does. But because of it, it makes no sense, because no one in real life would act like this.
Yeah, that was my problem, because by doing that, they make him so unlikable.
So it went from 0 to 100. Like the way the movie started was that he pitched this idea because they're gonna go on a vacation on a holiday. That's very normal.
Yeah.
And he went from 0 to 100 in that I'm not doing anything for Christmas. I'm not putting up lights. I'm not putting up Frosty. I'm not doing anything. So he does nothing. It is a 100% I am not doing anything for Christmas. And I did not understand the character jump here.
I kept thinking, here was my thought when I was like, oh, okay, so they don't have their daughter there for Christmas. Like, that what he's probably doing is doing a coping thing where okay, we don't have our daughter for Christmas. Let's not do Christmas at all. It's not going to be good without, the daughter present or something. So he's just finding an excuse to do it. That's not the case, because even when the daughter comes, he still doesn't want to do Christmas. He wants to do anything other than Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, then it's like they introduced a character facet for him, which is halfway through the movie, which is something you don't want to do. Is that he's just selfish and he's doing it to keep the money, because that's how everyone in the we're supposed to take it that way, because that's what everyone else says about him. Is that he just is selfish and he wants to save money. And the only hint that works in favor in this, which is not enough, is that you can see him with a calculator at the very beginning, seeing if they could afford to go on this cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not enough for the character that we have for the whole movie.
Do you have you know anyone that spends $6,000 on Christmas alone?
No, not at all.
That sounded like a ridiculous
figure. They spend $60 on ornament repairs.
Yeah, who repairs their ornament?
That adds up.
Because
I had never heard that term before.
I mean, this is a thing that carries throughout the whole film. Because I'm sitting here first off, timers existed back then for your Christmas lights. So if you wanted, you could put up Christmas lights and stuff like that. You could have put up Frosty. You could have done all this because there's going to be on a timer. So who cares?
Yeah.
Then there's the aspect of turning down like buying a calendar. You're not going to need a calendar for this year. It doesn't. It's just one of those things where they exaggerated this particular character trait to an extreme that's unbelievable from what we know this character to be and have been introduced to.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with him not wanting to decorate and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fine with them just not doing it because it does take a lot of effort to decorate the house.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm not knocking them for that specifically.
It's the extremes
it's the
of the calendar and the
because
freaking tactically avoiding the carolers.
Yeah, because here's the thing, right? Like with the whole count, like okay, he gives like the $600 to the charity, right? For the children's hospital and all that stuff, which he's against, but he does, anyways, just because technically you're not getting. It's not technically a Christmas thing; it's a charity thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's not getting,
and it's something that they do every year according to his wife. So I don't understand why that had to change.
Yeah, and the issue though is so like when he gets the police calendar and all that stuff, or like the tree, he doesn't have to take the tree or the calendar. He can just give the money. If he doesn't, because technically that's part of it. He's getting a tree, so if he just gives the money, he doesn't get the tree.
Yeah, see, but he's a money grubber.
See, that's the problem. Yeah, that makes him a money, because he's just like, well, I'm not. No, it's the principle of the thing. It's like, well, no, because you could just give him the money and not get the thing.
Yeah, like you could still not buy a Christmas tree and still donate to the Boy Scouts. You can do both.
Yeah, it's like this weird thing of like it becomes this like stance against. Well, and then I will say though, there's one scene, kind of after the the boycott with like his receptionist, who's complaining about not getting like perfume or something that year.
Yeah, cheap perfume.
Yeah, that's okay. That's like a side of like, okay, well, yeah, that's a good point against like commercialism, and they're like, okay, if it's all about getting the gifts, then yeah, maybe that's not so good.
Yeah, my whole implication, because the only way that worked for me in my head, at least with the work stuff, when he's writing this letter, was he supposed to be their Secret Santa or something that year for everyone?
I could not tell his position in this company because he was handing out the letter and everyone's like, "Oh my god, what is he doing?"
Yeah,
this changes my whole life.
Yeah, I don't fucking understand. I don't understand.
It sounded like he was just one employee.
Hold on,
I can't make it to the company party. I can't do all this stuff. Like, oh, okay.
We have a resident Christmas expert.
Yes,
Sprinks.
Hello.
Give us the lowdown. What do you think is going through Luther Crank's mind with all this anti-Christmas stuff, and how are you taking this?
For Luther, I think it was all about just money. It just seems like a.
You need to cite a source here, though, in the film.
Okay, let him go.
Okay, the calculator bit when he's running all the funds of how much he's running the numbers of how much Christmas cost last year. He isn't running at that time, I believe, how much the vacation would cost. He brings that up during the dinner. So it was like
he's doing both for sake of comparison.
Yes, but it isn't. I didn't think it was shown that he's running the vacation numbers when he's at his office. I thought it was that was just solely the Christmas because it finished with the total.
Well, you would have to have done both, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. So he runs the numbers and everything, and knows how much they save thousands of dollars. Then doing Christmas again, if it's roughly the same ballpark estimate of the price of last year. So I think he just went with that, knowing how much money they'll save, and that was his driving factor for the whole thing of like saving money, because the vacation that he's counting down the days to. So anything that came up that involved Christmas, he was against because his big pitch was skipping Christmas, and two, if it costs money, it's an expense he doesn't need to pay for. Yes, it became extremely ludicrous amounts of what he decided not to pay for, which to me the most crazy thing was the calendar, because you use that year round, you don't need that for just Christmas. But I think that was his just thought process on it. And then like not putting up lights or frosty, I believe was just a waste of effort and time that he didn't need to do. That he had to get his tan. He had to go get a Botox. He had to do all these other things, and he's like, "Oh, I don't have time to put up lights." Even though the community, which that's a fictional in my mind. That's a fictional.
Oh, absolutely.
community.
This place isn't real. Especially with the end. The end pretty much is.
You would just call the cops on him.
Yeah,
it's more bird than Santaland.
I took this as like a snow globe world because holy fuck.
Everyone in the community said they'll do the work for them. Like, put Frosty out, we'll take care of it. Take care of it for you. It's like, oh, the lights, we can help you, and they just were shut-ins and didn't.
Now I can give a little insight. I think I'm a little, if I'm stubborn enough, I'm just gonna keep going. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure, like at a certain point, he realized
there is a point as well. I will agree with you. Like,
yeah,
the way like Vic treated them for the first 45 minutes of this movie, I think that would have driven me to the point of I'm just gonna do this out of spite. There's a level of that, but it gets. When it's stuff that doesn't involve Vic, like the Boy Scouts and the Christmas tree, that doesn't really involve Vic. When it gets to the calendar, it doesn't really involve Vic. It's more problematic when it comes to that stuff.
Another thing that crossed my mind that might be on Luther's mind, it's not even really touched on till like the very end of the movie, but this might be the only year he can think of because Blair's gone that they can do this vacation without, abandoning her.
That might be something.
So he's like, oh, Nora and I won't ever be able to get the chance to do this again.
If that was something that he believed in, he would have said it at some point in the film. Unfortunately, so
I do like that idea though.
I agree. It is a nice idea. The problem is there's nothing in the film that really supports that.
No, as I said, at the very, very end when Blair comes back and everything, and Nora goes, "Oh, maybe next year." That's the only like small hint.
Well, that was the whole movie, so we can no, I'm kidding.
I have trouble finding what the message of this movie is.
Well, it starts out like this whole thing.
The message is don't be selfish. That's the message. They obviously the idea is
taking a vacation for you and your wife selfish is my question. I don't think it is.
No, I don't
care about my neighbors.
Okay, Springs, I'm not really gonna care what my neighbors think if I'm going on vacation. There's a level of this town not being
selfish to take a vacation for you.
No, it's not.
You're taking a vacation on the holidays. That's what you're supposed to fucking do.
Not just of the word of what I said, just going on a vacation, but of the character that Luther is demonstrating to everyone around him. Of the penny pinching, shut in, don't bring up the word Christmas to me until I leave on Christmas Day, kind of thing. Like that sort of selfish. Not just like, oh, I'm going on vacation with my wife.
I still don't think that's selfish. It's kind of his prerogative, right?
Well, that's like
there's a level of like
forcing upon him things that he doesn't need to have, right? I agree. He's pretty douchey about it. Like, obviously.
Oh yeah, he could definitely some better phrasing would fix so much in this film.
His whole character is selfish, just because he wants to go on a trip and not celebrate Christmas. I feel like is what they're trying to sell here, and I'm like, is it though? When he gives it to what's his name, Walt? Yeah,
Walt.
When he gives it to Walt, are the neighbors going to be freaking out on him Christmas Day? Like, where's Walt? he skipped out on Christmas. Let's vandalize his house. Like, I don't know what the messaging is for this trip.
Well, it's this whole thing, and herein lies, I think, one of the main issues of the movie is that it's set up like this whole thing of nonconformist, kind of like paving your own way, but you can't really do a Christmas movie that's non-conforming because the whole point of Christmas is that it's a group effort. It's you get involved with the same people doing the same thing, kind of thing. And I think it would have been nice to have a kind of like a whole thing of like, we're not gonna commit to Christmas. We're gonna try to do something. Because honestly, like what they have to go through is so awful. Yeah, I'd skip out Christmas too. Like if I don't put up a Frosty, my neighbors are gonna be on my porch like screaming at me.
They're gonna start getting cult vibes.
Yeah, getting called, having carolers come and disrupt, like, family time or something. Like, yeah, like,
mind you,
the
they're
whole,
under.
like,
This is all also operating on the assumption that their daughter's not going to be there. So
yeah, and I get like the other message of it, like, if this was the message, which what I thought from the beginning was, oh, Blair's not going to be there. I don't want to do Christmas if my daughter's not going to be there, kind of thing, or whatever. Like, that's fair, like, that's an emotional point that you could, have of, like, yeah, I understand that, but how they warp it makes it, like, just be so kind of, I can't even describe it, like, of the whole penny pinching Scrooge thing, which I love that they go out of his way to be like, I'm not a Scrooge, don't yell bah humbug at me, and then they immediately just are like, Scrooge, bah humbug, it's like a whole thing.
And he doesn't.
But they are correct,
and he doesn't do anything to like dissuade it either, because
he's just like,
he's at that point he's already a super absurd in his penny pinching to the point of becoming a Scrooge.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's a. This is only like the first 20 minutes of the movie, and it's already so bad.
I like I wouldn't necessarily call it montage, but I like the little music and the sound effects in the whole part where he's crunching the numbers in his office.
Thank you, Springs. Thank you for finding it. I also like that.
Yes, I wrote that.
I did like that.
Yeah, I wrote that down as well.
A small. I hope Tim Allen actually did that in real life, but he didn't. I know he doesn't. I know it didn't actually make that sound. Okay. Does anybody have any other stuff for the first act?
Do I?
I like. It kind of already sets the tone of things, but at the dinner when he's pitching his idea that they go on a vacation, the whole room is already surrounded with Christmas.
She's got a Christmas sweater on. His wife Nora.
Well, there's still a lot of stuff in boxes, so they're not completely decorated yet.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing with Nora is Nora. It hasn't even come to Nora's idea that they're going to go on vacation yet. That's why she keeps saying Christmas is not going to be the same. She just assumes they're going to celebrate Christmas without Blair. So,
which again feeds into why I thought, oh, he's not going to do it because Blair's not there. You find out it's not the case. But anyway, this is I could relate to at least one scene in this movie in the beginning.
Okay.
Where he has to go to the store to get the white chocolate and the nuts, and it's pouring down.
See, this to me is what spoke marriage strain as well.
Yeah,
I got a lot of marriage strain from this particular scene. And this is the scene that made me not like either of them.
Yes. Because I don't know why, they had to get the white chocolate right then and there. I mean, I get, like, we're already here, let's do it. But it's pouring down rain.
I don't know.
It's fitting.
This whole bit kind of bugged me because I don't see the problem in this scene where I'm like, okay, I'll go get the chocolate and nuts and come back. Problem solved. I wouldn't be a little crybaby about water.
Well, you weren't a crybaby water anyway, so veto.
And I also this was a joke that went on for way too long.
It did.
Absolutely.
I checked, and it was 3.5 minutes long. This whole rain bit, way too long.
Yeah, like I said, I thought it started out okay. Him kind of being shoved out the car, more or less, but voluntold to go get the chocolate.
Yeah.
I was fine with that. It's when he came back, that's when I had an issue. And then she got voluntold to go back out again. That's when the joke died for me.
Let me
ask you. Like you need an umbrella.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say. That Crimson. I don't think the point of the scene was this whole. Well, part of it I guess was about the relationship of Nora and Luther, but I think it was the introduction of quote unquote Santa selling umbrellas.
If you're gonna bring that up to make the scene relevant, Marty could have been completely removed from.
It could have been. Wow.
Marty
well.
did not contribute anything to this movie
Where
other
did he
than a
first
couple
pop
jokes.
up? Like after an hour in the movie?
He pops up at the alcohol store.
50 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
50-minute
alcohol.
mark. Yeah, 50-hour in, maybe.
Yeah.
And I don't know what, because usually if there's like a secret Santa in the background in these type of movies, he's pushing the plot along to help our main character grow. This Santa did nothing. What did he do to make?
He hit a robber with a fucking umbrella. That's all he did.
He lived
Again, that's also a plot line that could be removed. So
this begs a question: do you think that Luther has grown by the end of this movie?
Yes,
I think he did. Whether or not he got there the correct way.
I agree. I agree that he grew as a character. The road to get there is shit.
Yeah.
They had to do a Deus Ex Machina and just force him to do it. Like no real like outsider thing really happened that kind of would have changed him. I think they had to just kind of like have it be a Christmas miracle.
His daughter was there, and he still wanted to go on the trip. Then he sees Walt, the guy he doesn't like, across the street. Like, you know what? I'm going to be a good person now.
I'm going to be good to Walt, but not my daughter.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my best to avoid her.
The character work here is crap. Like I said, I agree that the story wants us to believe he changed. He just it's not congruent with anything that came before.
Okay, but let me go back to my original point, which is the rain thing. You just got back in the car and you forgot something. Do you actually go back in?
Well, he didn't forget anything. That's the problem.
Well, he didn't talk to the butcher about the chocolate.
The white chocolate.
Yeah,
he didn't talk to the butcher, and his wife didn't tell him that he needed to talk to the butcher. Just expected him to know.
Would you talk to Rex, the butcher?
To answer your question, Sinister, I would go back.
I know you would, because you don't care about rain or anything. But a normal person probably
I would think a normal person would, because if they're planning a dessert, they kind of need all the ingredients to make the dessert for the party. It's kind of like I don't want to get wet, but I got to get this done.
I assumed they were. I assumed they weren't making anything for a party. They were just making it for themselves.
Well, no, it was like for the auction or something that the wife works on. It wasn't a huge part of the movie, so it didn't.
There was a charity auction thing.
Oh yeah, right.
With her two friends that I don't even remember the names of. One was Mary.
One was Mary. I recognize the heavier one. She's been in a couple things. And the other, I recognize both of them, but I don't know what any of the rest of them are from. I recognize a lot of people in this movie. They were like the bit parts.
Yeah, there was a lot of recognizable people in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, Rick Frohmeyer. Ray Stantz. Ghostbusters, man.
Sprinks, would you go back for the white chocolate?
Yeah, I would have not forgot. I would have had all the ingredients to begin with. The thing that was odd to me was Luther came out of the store like he was in a rush. He was completely dry in the store. Could have taken his time.
It's true. Well, also, it's weird they had him forget the white chocolate because he yelled he had to get the white chocolate beforehand.
Okay,
that's the joke.
Okay, so
that's the joke. That's funny.
No. Okay, so you dodged the question, Springs. You've forgotten something. Would you go back?
Would you go back?
If I came back with pistachios, didn't have the white chocolate, would I go? Yeah, I'd go back.
Okay.
Would you buy an umbrella?
No.
Would any of us? I wouldn't buy.
I have a rain jacket. I carry in my bag with me. I have no issues getting fucking soaked.
No, but you're Luther.
I also have no issue getting soaked. So
I couldn't get any wetter.
I couldn't get any.
Which is
that was okay. If they had just done that bit and cut out like a minute and a half of the joke, it would have been funny.
Honestly, I think if they cut it here, like with the whole frustration over not getting what she wants and him leaving the door, he closes it and it cuts right there. I think that the joke would have landed a bit more. Then they killed it after that.
I agree. Okay, well, I have one. God damn, I had another question and I lost it. Oh, now I got it. Where is this? This is in Illinois, right? I believe.
Good
I don't
question.
think
I think
they ever.
the city was called Riverside.
Yeah.
I don't know what state.
Right next to
Only-
Coolsville and Riverside.
Oh.
Riverside.
I think it said Riverside on the police car.
Yeah. Okay. That was my. Never mind. I got it. Okay. I was just curious because I was like trying to figure out why, like, it's raining on Christmas, and which is, I kept thinking they're like in like Seattle or something.
Raining in the winter. Yeah. Well, they needed the joke to completely juxtapose him seeing a sunny beach picture that inspires him to go on a cruise.
Yeah, they had to. Yes, they that worked. That landed. That was.
And if it's rainy, seeing a white Christmas makes it even better, especially for Enrique for his first white Christmas, which they didn't really pay off.
I didn't
react
like
to the
any
snow.
of that. I didn't. That made no sense to me.
No payoff.
Enrique's first white Christmas?
No, like the whole Enrique thing, it just made no sense. Like he didn't need to be in the movie.
The best thing about Enrique was the signs at the airport.
Yes,
There's
Enrique.
there are
Enrique.
these side
Enrique.
plots, those side stories that they keep putting in this movie, which have very low fuse payoff.
Of course, yeah.
But there's like 5 of them.
Yeah.
There's more than 5. Let's
I'm
see.
convinced
Let's
that
see, there's
all
the
they
robber,
had was
there's
an
the police
ending to
officers.
this movie. I think that's all they had at the
I
start
think
of
what they
this.
had is they're in
backwards.
the boardroom. They're in the Christmas boardroom, right? Where they make all the Christmas movies. That aren't Hallmark. Hallmark has this whole other thing. But the Christmas boardroom, they just came up. What if a guy decided to skip Christmas? And everybody's like, oh, really good idea. Yeah. But then, how about this? Twist ending. He decides to not skip Christmas.
Whoa.
They're like, I'm sorry, we got a new Martin Scorsese in the house. This guy's fucking genius.
Yeah, that's how I imagine the boardroom would go.
Yeah, like I would have loved to see the boardroom like going over this movie and just being like, it's good. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah, this movie's just so shallow. Ryder, you're listing off all the unnecessary side stuff. Can you continue?
It's the opposite of that puddle.
Okay,
that he
let's
sees
see.
in the beginning.
I can remember. Okay, we have Spike being an unnecessary side story. We have the mugger being an unnecessary side story. We have the police officers.
I like the mugger.
Mostly being an unnecessary side story. They have a better place in it than most because they have to stall, but otherwise, very unnecessary side story.
I'm okay with the police guys because Cheech Marin. I mean, come on, Cheech Marin.
Is he the "I'm not your uncle" guy?
Yeah, not your uncle. It's also from Cheech and Chong, which I'm sure like people under 20 would be, or people over 20 would.
The only relevant side story that I can think of that I think was important is Walt, his neighbor across the street. Just by the fact that that's supposed to be where his entire growth is based off of as a character.
But even that's so shallow.
And it's super shallow. There's nothing supporting this other than that's what the change in his character was.
Because all they do, they hint at like the cancer thing, but you don't know that it's actually cancer until like almost like more than halfway through the movie. Yeah. And even then, it's like they don't even like go into it past that point.
And I don't know if Walt's allowing paparazzi to get up and take pictures of my house. I don't know. I'd like him even if his wife had cancer. I'd feel bad for him, but I don't know if I have enough sympathy for him specifically.
Yeah, I don't.
It seems like they're just dicks to each other for the sake of
it. There's very few likable people in this movie. That's the main problem. There's very few. You have.
I like Walt.
Well, yeah, but he's not likable though, because
I like him in the conventional sense. No.
You like him because he's acidic.
Yeah, I mean that's why I like him too. He's a bit of a cynic, but Nothing. I like his archetype. There we go.
Yes, I like the archetype, but he's not. You're not. If you were dealing with him, you wouldn't like him in real life. Bev's a likable character.
Is she a character?
She's not a character, but she's likable. And that's their whole. That's her character. She has to be likable. Because she's like the only person who doesn't care about Luther not celebrating Christmas and is like okay with it. Like everybody else has a problem with it.
She's normal.
Yeah, she's the Nora is kind of, but they kind of mess with her enough where I think it's like 50-50, depending. It's all about your opinion.
She's
doesn't really
so exaggerated.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I guess Blair, but she's not in the movie. I don't.
Yeah, Blair's normal.
Blair's normal.
Enrique's
the only
normal.
thing I don't like about Blair's character is completely subjective, which is why the hell are you trying to surprise me and coming home the day before?
Well, when did they leave?
Because it's a surprise.
Yeah,
she was there for like what, like a few days.
I don't know.
I don't. Back?
Yeah, they said it was 3 weeks. I think.
Like I said, this is subjective. I'm fine with it in concept. It can work. I just don't like the fact that they expect everything to revolve. Like the parents immediately want to revolve their lives around her. Makes more sense for Nora than it does for.
Well, yeah.
Well, Luther was definitely against it.
Yeah, but they could have done something more with that, and they didn't. So
let's. You know what? It's time. We have to bring in the Christmas. We have to bring in the Christmas expert to settle this.
Okay.
Sprinks.
Yes.
Who are the likable characters? That's what you say from a Christmas movie standpoint. Who is likable in this?
Characters.
Yeah.
Bev. I think Blair.
Mm-hmm.
Blair's traditional
mm-hmm.
Christmas daughter. I like Walt. Walt feels kind of like that. What are their names? The Muppets.
Damn it!
Statler and Waldorf.
I've had this question posed to me 5 different times. I never remember the answer. Yeah, it's like Statler and Waldorf.
And Waldorf. Yeah, he feels like that. Like he's comedic, a little, sarcastic, but he's not mean. So I like Walt. Spike, fine. And I guess Nora's very enthusiastic, but Nora. I think those are the likable ones.
Yeah.
One could say Luther at the very end of the movie. You could say Marty.
No,
Marty's not harmful in any way.
Marty's likable. He's weird, but he's likable. Yeah, none of the rest of them are really no. Either they're just like for the sake of the plot unlikable, or they're just like there's nothing really redeeming about them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the neighbors are just there. They're just names. Mm-hmm. Like Wes, his neighbor across the street that he borrowed the tree. He's just Wes. He's got a wife and kids.
He seems normal though. I like
normal,
him. Yeah.
But like I said,
he's
not really a character.
No, he's there just for the plot. Yeah.
Ned, who put up Frosty and spied on him while he was taking the tree.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of characters in this that aren't characters that are just around.
Yeah, I think we can
next
just
door just a goof, a confused wife and a stupid drunk young guy.
Sprinks, your audio is cutting in and out.
Yeah.
Hopefully this will make it better.
Yep, that's better.
That is much better. Yes.
But yes, the Beckers.
Yes.
There is something odd in the scene which we've been jumping all over, so I don't exactly know where we're placed, but I think this is where we are. When Nora goes to lunch with her friends, and
we're there.
The card, I don't know the dude's name.
Oh, Abby just followed him, and I'm like,
Abby.
Yeah, I wrote Abby, and I'm like, well, Abby's just a dick and a stalker.
He's a stalker, yeah.
Because he follows her from his shop.
He follows her into the restaurant asks her about invitations, and then he gives gossip, turns around, and sits at a completely random table to talk to people.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Very,
had to
very
double
weird
that he
scene.
from the table to talk to her. He came just.
Oh, he just followed right in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not celebrating Christmas?
Like I said, this is one of those tweaks that could be made if this was going to be a horror movie. That is something that would work.
Because they're definitely like, okay, they're definitely doing like a Burbs take on like Christmas. I'm sure that was kind of.
I also don't understand why everyone's in shock. Sorry, just
no, because they have to exaggerate it, so they have to be like so, like, oh my god, it's like they have to be like they become pariahs just for the sake of like this thing. But it that's the other part of it. It's like, because nobody would really fucking care. It wouldn't be like this whole big thing of like. But I will say though, I think the main issue with it though, like why, because it could work, but the reason why it seems like most of the people are so like up in arms against them skipping Christmas is all money. Like, Avi is upset because they're not ordering the Christmas cards, so that would be like, a few $100s or whatever for him, I'm assuming. I don't really know what the going rate on Christmas cards is. The police guys are upset because he's not buying the calendar, so they're not getting like the $20. The Boy Scouts are upset about the tree because they're not getting the $90. And it's just this whole fucking thing of like, why, like, it's a perfect setup for anti-commercialism in the holidays, which I am for. But they make it like then they do a 180 where it's like, well, it's all about the community. You're skipping out on the community. It's like, you guys didn't fucking care about the community except for like probably Vic,
Vic's the only one that I would argue
Vic's the only one that doesn't go into like the financial part of it. But literally every other person that they encounter, it's all about how much money they want out of them that they're not getting because they're skipping Christmas. And that's the nail in the coffin for the message of this movie, that why it doesn't work.
Even his coworkers were upset they weren't going to get cheap gifts from them.
Yeah.
I don't.
But they don't have. But he also explicitly says that they don't need to buy gifts for him either. So it's also very weird.
They're being selfish. They're like, well, I'm not getting a gift from you now, and I need that gift. And it's like, well, you don't have to get one for me. Like,
yeah, that goes more towards the messaging thing, where I'm like, this movie doesn't know what it's talking about.
No, it really doesn't. It's just because I can see where they want what they're trying to do, but it's incongruent with everything else that they're.
Yeah, like, okay, as unlikable as they make him be, they make Luther be, because they go exaggerate and they above and they go farther than I would, than even I as like a. I'm not a Scrooge, but I'm not a huge Christmas guy or whatever, but like he goes too farther than I would if I was on Christmas or whatever. Even with that, if they had just followed through on the skipping out of Christmas part, I would give them merits for, actually completing that story full circle. But they don't. Yeah. They chicken out. they can't commit to it. And that's where I'm like, okay, no, you don't get points for trying. Don't get anything. Skipping out on this.
All that matters.
Yeah. Anyways, that's my little rant. So we're going. What did you guys think of the mall? Because the mall is where most Christmas movies sort of seem to occur, especially in the 2000s and 90s era.
They do have. They'll always do have a
people
scene in
went
the
to
mall.
malls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is listen, anybody who's like 12, 14 years old, a mall is a place that you would go to before Amazon.
That's funny.
Where you'd hang out with friends and just look at stuff.
You'd look at things. You wouldn't necessarily buy anything because you didn't have any money.
You'd go to Spencer's and be like, what the heck is that on the wall? I'm confused.
What is this long cylinder-like shape that vibrates? No.
Wow.
Yeah, at Spencer's.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes. That's what shaken under the tree this year. Yeah. So yeah, mall is a place that you would go to before Amazon.
I also just want to point out that if Luther's selfishness as a character would work, he wouldn't be getting a 10 because it's a waste of money.
Exactly.
Especially if they're going on a cruise. Inconsistency. Just gonna point it out.
I will agree, though. I'll agree because we went on like a tropical like vacation, me and my family, many years ago now, and we're very pale individuals.
You raw chickens, like Luther said.
Oh yeah. So my mom, she didn't want to like us to go there and be these like pasty white, people, and so she wanted us to get tans, but not like actual like tans, like spray tans. And let me tell you, that's the darkest I've ever been, and it was off-putting.
See, I just have to stand outside for 5 minutes, and I got a tan, and I keep it for like 3 months. So
it's your I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna get it wrong.
Get it right?
No, I'm not. I don't remember now, and I don't want to look like a fool.
Swiss.
Damn it, that's what I was gonna go for.
You always do Swedish.
Blonde.
Yeah. Anyway, Springs, how about you? What do you think about the small scene?
You quoted it.
Including in the mall is this Irish pub where Luther is showing off like a bathing suit to Nora, and a little attention to detail I liked is the I guess the people at the pub
yellow
in the background.
bikini.
The people in the background actually pay attention to what's being shown because Luther and Nora are pretty much right in the center of the pub.
It's very odd for someone to be throwing out underwear essentially in the pub.
Yeah.
So even I would be distracted for a minute.
This whole city's a cult, right? I mean, everywhere they go, they're getting watched.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, there's the skipping Christmas people.
I mean, at the tanning salon when the priest shows up, there's a crowd amassing behind him.
Yeah,
Ooh,
and also they would cover the fucking doors for the tanning salon. So it's a little.
God, I'm not even at the tanning bar yet.
God, I'll leave it at that.
Tanning.
This whole world's ruined.
Wait.
And they're definitely aware that they could make this creepy because with Vic, his introduction when the guy went with the trees, like Luther isn't buying a tree this year.
Oh yeah, he did the slow turn around and the zoom in his face.
The slow turn and zoom, and then the cut back to the house and back to him. There's definitely elements where they're self-aware that they could make this creepy, but they didn't go all in on it like they should have. Even when he was caroling, he had some creepy-looking faces going on when singing.
Well, that's just Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd can do creepy. Yeah.
So they only went like the creep or horror route with his character alone instead of this town, which they definitely should have connected to.
Springs, you wanting to say something?
I was gonna say I found it odd, unless they had reservations or Luther's been here before. I think it's weird that Luther knew Daisy's name before, like, going into the place.
I think he scoped it out or something because he.
Yeah, probably had to get the $60 for 12 visit deal.
Yeah,
probably.
And he also got the bathing suits, so I'm assuming he did scout ahead.
He's a planner.
He's a planner. Yeah,
we've at least established that. Even at the end, he's like, "I planned this trip for 6 weeks."
But she's been gone for 3. How did he?
I don't know.
Yeah, no. See, don't think too hard about that because if you think about it, it's almost this movie's bad or something. But
I like the tanning salon. That was but that was probably like some of the cringiest parts of this movie was the tanning salon.
Don't look at her eyes.
Who was this random guy?
I kept thinking he was going to be a thing.
I was like absolutely nothing.
That's my biggest problem with the tanning salon is that guy. Why is he there?
He was simply there so she hits her head to go to the front desk.
Yeah, he was just a plot device and a stupid one at that. There's no reason for him to be there.
Also, like, don't they have like better privacy
What would have been great is if it was Marty. If Marty walked in, because then Santa's actually pushing the plot somehow. But no, this is a random dude.
That would have been actually better.
Yes, it would have.
Do you know what does he say again? He's like, "Oh no, wrong room" or something.
He didn't even say that. Yeah, he's like,
oh
no, and leaves.
Oh,
He doesn't even say wrong room, which would have made it slightly better. Still stupid, but give him a reason to be there.
And I don't need to see Tim Allen in a
Speedo
tan.
He was in definitely better shape than I expected him to be in, but still not a good look.
So you're not bringing up a certain element of that.
Come on, do it.
What?
Do it.
I didn't know he played baseball. You know.
Wow.
I also want to say he tanned really fucking fast.
Comment.
Yeah.
Like, assuming he started at the same time as his wife, he tanned really fast.
Well, also though, it didn't last though.
No,
by the next
No,
scene,
it did not.
Neither did the Botox. It was just one-off jokes that didn't stick.
Yeah.
The crowd that gathered outside the tanning salon. So someone took a photo and sent it to the paper.
Yeah.
Who then made a front headlined article
without consulting them. Yeah.
Well, they don't need to be consulted.
No, you have to. You have to get
the only person that needs to be consulted is the one that took the picture.
I'm pretty sure
you think all those celebrity photos that get leaked and put in papers, they get the celebrity's permission?
Well,
No.
okay, yeah. You just said leak, so obviously no. You're setting me up there.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Luther and Nora wouldn't want these photos, so I guess technically that's fine if it was a leak. But
now
I don't know. I definitely think they needed. Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't. Sorry.
Sorry. I'm done.
I haven't done the research on it, but I think it would be a cool detail. I don't know, but a cool detail of the article, because the article for the newspaper is actually like written. It's not just a bunch of gibberish and made up stuff. It'd be cool if the words written in the article were from the book that the movie's based on.
Yeah, I think they were kind of doing that, but not. They didn't commit to it.
That certainly wouldn't make sense, but who the heck would read it anyways? They'd have to pause the screen.
Hey, I'll have you know, Wes Anderson writes out full articles in any written thing that's in his movies.
I love it when I read the Harry Potter books and there was a whole chapter just read it as a newspaper that they implemented in the movie.
I do like when they mess with like a book, like they have like a different format or something, you know, like a specific line, so you know what you're reading.
Let's see, was there anything else tanning that?
She had some headlights. Jamie Lee Curtis, give her that.
Got what?
Headlights.
Oh.
It's a polite way to say what I'm not going to say.
Headlights and a ball player, you too.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you took that a little differently. I was referencing a baseball cup. But...
Well, either way, it wasn't even much of the imagination. I'll say that much at least.
It's true. No, I guess I'm done with the tanning salon.
Oh, you're done, huh?
Do any of you find anything comedic with the cat bit?
No. Maybe because I have a cat and I know how painful it is to step on the tail. So
you know what the cat feels like?
I do. I had a tail when I was little.
Well,
yeah, look at the pink jumpsuit he's wearing.
It fell off when I grew to full age.
What, Ryder?
I said, look at the pink jumpsuit Sinister's wearing. Of course he knows what it's like.
Oh, yeah.
I'm better
For
rabbit.
YouTube viewers. Yeah, the cat bit's not great, especially when he killed it. And then somehow it got resurrected at the end.
Its eyes moved. He didn't kill it.
Also, that cat froze really fucking quickly. Which, you know.
I mean, it looked like it was a span of a couple days with the prepping the house with the water hose and all that other stuff.
Water hose?
I think he just kept hosing the cat down every day.
Let's be honest, though. would you have done the exact same thing if killers kept like harassing you? Would you just like freeze your lawn or whatever so they would slip on?
No.
No.
I think I'd call the police before I do that.
Yeah.
And then I probably would call the police. So.
I don't think I'd be
trespassing.
harassed.
They wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they fall under enough they fall under enough jurisdiction where it's technically not illegal to carol.
Well, when they start surrounding your house,
Peeking through your windows.
Yeah, once they slam their faces into the window, that's when they cross the line. For me, anyway.
They cross the line when they cross the curb into his lawn.
Just because it's slightly similar, or it also occurs in that that scene. The whole Frosty thing is weird to me.
It's a good chunk of
Free
this,
Frosty.
movie.
Free
as
Frosty.
Kristen said, that is a good indication of cult.
Yes,
That everyone has their Frosty.
because
And
it's
then
like this, like
Vic even has a spare one, or someone has a spare Frosty.
yeah.
Yeah, someone does.
Well, and it's like this weird thing where, like, you know, because Luther's like, well, he's not the police. Like, Vic's not the police or whatever. You know, he's just the street guy or whatever. And Vic uses it almost like a trump card. Like, well, you got to put up Frosty. Can't not put up Frosty.
I assume Vic is just head of the neighborhood association.
Yeah, I mean, that's the gist I'm getting.
There's evidence that there's a higher power with them as well, where the police didn't want to escort Blair, and he's like, "You want me to call the chief?"
Yeah.
He's got sway in this town.
Yeah,
It's not
Yes,
just
he
the
does.
street.
he's got like the ComEd people, the freaking
Yeah.
It's funny. I wrote down what my real life comment would be if a group of my neighbors came into front of my door and said, "We're here for Frosty." I would have then shouted from my window. I said, "If you're with the government or the church, get the fuck off my property."
We're neither.
But and like okay, and here's another thing. I know we're like harping on, you know, like
What's dessert?
well, yeah, well, no, like like the amount of effort versus what you get out of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
In this movie, like seeing him put up Frosty, I wouldn't want to put him up either. What the fuck? Like he almost died putting up Frosty.
Yeah, he's
That's
tearing up
definitely
his
something
roof.
you would do with someone else.
He's
Yeah.
tearing up
Yeah.
his roof. That's sign enough that this should not be a regular thing.
Love that he tied a noose around him too.
That was funny imagery. I smirked at that, but it's still it was ruined by the fact that he's there. It's literally pulling up
Destroying his
roof tiles.
tiling.
Yeah, it's literally
Yeah.
pulling up his roof tiles. I'm like, shit. That I know they're doing this for a joke, but that's not good.
He liked it. He was okay with it.
I don't think he was.
Mm.
Oh, Sprinks has a counter.
Well,
Oh.
not the counter. I'm just continuing with the film. I don't necessarily know a version of Jingle Bells that just gets faster and faster and faster. Is that a normal thing?
Well,
that
they
is
did that
as someone who did Carol. I did Christmas Carol once upon a time. That is something you actually do when you're caroling group when you sing the song. You do pick up the pace every time you like go through the whole spiel. You don't go to insane levels, but you do pick up the pace a few times. So you go through it like 3 times, and the third one's obviously the fastest.
I just viewed it as an intimidation tactic.
Oh, absolutely, that's what it's meant to be here.
It works that way
but
too.
it works. It absolutely works out that way to be that here. But I'm saying, like normally in a Christmas caroling group, that's what we did. From what I remember, you did pick up the pace after with each iteration, and the third song, once you pretty much ended up with the third one, which would be your fastest go around for it.
Do we know what Luther's job is, by the way?
He's a businessman, office guy.
I didn't know if it was ever said and I missed it.
It was never said. My guess is accountant, purely because of the numbers thing. But that's me projecting. The script gives me nothing for that.
Well, with that calculator, he definitely needs that for some sort of accounting, I would imagine. It's not standard issue office equipment.
Standard issue office.
Not where it prints out your results and stuff.
I'm sorry, I got lost here. What are we talking about?
Nothing anymore. All
I don't know
right.
what Luther's job is, but
Oh, yeah, I don't. Yeah, you've been there a long time. Should have made you partner by now.
Yeah, partner.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, don't know what is. Obviously, it has something to do with where he can set up his finances. So he's got the tools for it. So it must be something.
I have no idea.
We'll never know. It's lost in the movie.
Oh,
Somebody tell us what does Luther do in this movie, please?
Okay, let's talk about Vic being an absolute lunatic and trying to talk to Nora as she's leaving the town.
Oh yeah, and she drags him with the car.
The hands in the window.
No, she didn't. She didn't drag him. He was running alongside. I'm like, what?
Oh, okay,
this is so insane.
She was going 5 miles per hour, maybe.
Yeah, she was going pretty slow.
She didn't want to.
Yeah, 5 to 10.
Yeah. It still is. Oh.
Like at that point, like
assault and harassment.
Yeah, I can absolutely get in. He can absolutely get indicted for that shit. I don't.
Indicted. That would be, you know what? That'd be the way to end this movie. Just the whole neighborhood gets indicted on harassment and assault charges.
Well, see, he's buddy with the chief, so he wouldn't get away, or he'd get away with everything.
Yeah, you're right. But man, what a way to end a Christmas movie, am I right? Whole neighborhood getting taken away to jail.
Vic should have been the Santa, not Marty. He was the gun-ho Christmas guy in this whole thing.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Because Marty's unfortunately a removable character. So.
Well, every character's in this removable character.
That's also true.
Yeah, one thing I'll give this movie is that there's definitely attempts at making something decent in here. There's good ideas in this. Unfortunately, they just don't coalesce in the right way.
Or they
don't follow the trail far enough down to actually make something decent.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there is attempts.
Because I will say,
they can fail.
I made fun of the guy pitching it, but like the idea of like somebody skipping out on Christmas, I think is not a terrible idea. But it all comes down to the execution and how you actually attempt it. And I don't think this one.
Yeah, this is definitely a wasted concept kind of movie.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Do you think that I don't know if like Christmas is still like, cause I mean like 2000s. I remember Christmas was like huge. Like,
we were also kids, so
yeah, we were kids. I take it with a grain of salt, but I like remember like Christmas being like big deal, like especially with Black Fridays and everything. Like, Jesus, people got freaking murdered.
There was a lot more, I guess, back then, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, same with like Halloween. There's not as many trick-or-treaters anymore because everyone's afraid to go to other people's houses nowadays.
Which, fair enough. I don't think that's totally out of,
Yeah, there's not too many, like, Halloween things on TV anymore that are, like, new. This year we actually got, like, Hellblade and another Halloween movie.
Hocus Pocus 2.
And Hocus Pocus. This year we've actually gotten a good amount of Halloween stuff, but prior years, all the holidays seem to get lesser. The ones that mattered in
movies, Crimson.
Christmas.
There's a good amount of Christmas movies that have come out.
Yeah, but how many of them?
Yeah, but all of them are like this, though. That's the problem.
They're all like.
I don't think so.
I will simply cite last week. We watched the Nutcracker.
Okay, as of this recording,
I'll bring up
last week is what you
Chronicles
mean.
Is also a bad new Christmas.
Which
movie.
one?
Wow,
both of them. Christmas Chronicles.
Okay. There we go.
I don't know what's a good recent-ish Christmas movie.
Well, that's
iconic.
As of recording or as of future when this is being heard.
Well,
you can't use that because we only have
you don't know the
knowledge
future, so you got to say from right now.
So of last year, what Christmas movies came out last year?
That were iconic.
Well, I didn't say last year, just recent-ish, like past 3 years. Anything good?
I think the only one that I can think of is the Kurt Russell Santa Claus movie.
That was the one I didn't like.
Christmas Chronicles.
That was Christmas
First one.
Chronicle.
That was Christmas Chronicles?
Bad.
Second one was bad.
I'm thinking of something else then.
Second one was horrendous, though. Yeah.
I'm thinking of something else then, because there was a.
Where you got
there was
up and did jazz and rock and all that stuff. Ooh.
What about Santa Inc.? That was good.
God, don't even bring that up. Bleep that out, editor. That why?
Trying to start shit.
I am. 8-Bit Christmas. That came out last year. Remember that one?
Oh yeah, the Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, the greatest video game system for Christmas.
That's
nobody watched that. I remember they pushed
the trailer for it.
Yeah, they pushed that hard, and then I just totally forgot about it until I was looking it up just now.
No idea. Never heard of it. Apparently, so no one else.
Received, but I haven't seen it. So
what do you think the problem is, though, with that? Like, why do you think like a Christmas movie or like a Halloween movie is kind of a hard thing to make now versus like in like the 80s or the 90s and everything?
I think people
forgot how to write.
Well, there's that.
The more stuff comes out, the harder it is to make something more original. So you're not copying off something already made.
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree.
Like there was a whole era about detective movies, and the templates are all the same, but they're all different in their own ways.
Mm.
You can have a bunch of variety using the exact same templates. So I disagree with that.
You think it's a lack of like
especially with Christmas? Look at all those Hallmark Lifetime, even though they all suck. But I digress.
I don't know. I've like noted. Okay, so like, do you think it's like the commercialism part of it? Like they kind of have to have it be about like gifts and that kind of stuff, or do you think it's just like a natural thing where it's kind of like you just lose the spark and you don't really know what to do with it?
I'm going to lean more towards spark because Christmas has always, at least modern era, has always been about marketing and all that stuff. Even in the 80s, I would say. So even the good Christmas movies were motivated by that stuff. But the Christmas spark, I can agree, is definitely, I think, died down in society and stuff. I think we live in a time where a lot of people are more self-centered than they used to be. I think there were a lot more people like Christmas and Kranks with a community. People actually cared about the neighbors and stuff.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
really run down.
People are kind of around themselves in their core group. No one really cares about anybody anymore.
Yeah.
Dude,
it also
a COVID Christmas movie. Come on, let's do it.
It also doesn't help as well that like this is going to go into more into economics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People are struggling to make a living. Like, there was a study that like half of the United States lives in under the poverty line almost, or like they aren't making a living wage. So the expectation that we're supposed to celebrate Christmas and give gifts constantly to other people that we like, when we're barely making a living for ourselves, also doesn't really help.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, listen, I'll complain about like oh man, I gotta spend on Christmas gifts. But I will say when I buy Christmas gifts for you guys and everything, I have a fun time.
Yeah.
You know,
it is fun because I mean like that's what you want to do. You want to celebrate with friends and family. You want to make them feel like you care about them. And gifts are simply a way to express that. The issue is that it gets harder as time.
When it just becomes about that.
Yeah.
When it comes just about that, that's where the issue comes in.
Yeah. So, man, this got depressing.
I'll say like I guess one more thing on it, and then we can move on. I'm like I definitely think that it's a really different time because I mean economically, like we'll be like the first generation that probably like they won't be able to like afford like our first house almost, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's I'm gonna be a bummer, but it's just like it's what it is.
Statistics show, so yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely think there's like this cultural divide between like is Christmas like a necessary thing or not, and when
put it to against necessities like getting food on the table and making sure you have power on, water and internet, it's unfortunately not going to take a back seat, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it definitely affects like the movies because or it affects like how you watch a movie because it's kind of like wow, they can afford like they in the Christmas with the Cranks, they must make a shitload of money because she can go to Peru and back in like less than like 3 weeks, and they can go on like a cruise and have gifts. Like that's a lot of money.
Inflation's also not a thing at this point.
That's true. That's okay, but still, like even back then, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
that's a lot of that's like probably the amount of money I've made in like a year.
Yeah, it's different time.
It's been like different time. Yeah, place.
And I will say COVID really hasn't helped either. COVID kind of pushed in an overdrive just because of all the social distancing that we have to do.
You'd think though. I mean, I would say because I would logically I'd go that same spot, but you'd also think that it would also have like the reverse outcome where like you'd have more of those because of the idea that like people can't do it, so like it's like a vicarious kind of thing.
Yeah, which is strange. Like you feel like that would inspire people to have a better spark in what to do with like a family Christmas story. Yeah. So the fact they're now suddenly unable to do this is why I kind of liked your idea. Is COVID Christmas movie is something that totally would vibe with everyone right now because that's what life has been like. And you can, there's so much you can do with that concept. It's just no one's doing anything with that concept, which is the shame of it.
The problem with that concept is it would be dated.
Now, but it would date it because
it'd be dated now. But I'm saying like you could still capture the emotions without having necessarily to do allegory.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's like the whole thing of like, like we said, it would date it because it, obviously we're not.
Well, I mean,
probably always.
If you're gonna do literally with the COVID thing,
so I mean, you could do something akin to it where it kind of references it, but not, obviously. But like, I don't know. I think
Home Alone 3 where the kid gets chicken pox and has to stay indoors.
Something. But it, and I think it's okay though if something gets dated because it's a it's a touchstone or like a car, like some sort of memory thing where you can like always like, oh, that's what life was like, in this like particular point in time, and maybe it lessens its relatability in some way, but I think it's fine if there's like a document of it, somewhere. Anyways,
you're right there. You're right there, Sprinks.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sprinks hasn't really touched on.
Got a little dark.
Yeah,
go into a dark place with Christmas with the Cranks.
Yeah, I
guess to bare bones here. Do you think Christmas movies and shows have gotten worse through the years, Sprinks?
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think that? Because we kind of covered our thoughts on it.
I think it's the same reason why horror movies need to get different approaches as they go along, because I still think it's with the world and how, things become a little more desensitized of new things keep getting added into the world to change everyone's thoughts and processes and imaginations with ideas by so many other people and so much past history and whatnot that's already been created, that anything new to really stand out would have to be a little more original than anything in the past of copying. So I think newer Christmas movies are trying to either trying too hard with a different formula that just doesn't work, or trying to copy off of something in the past to make their own that doesn't work because it's already been done.
Oh, you think they haven't found a good middle ground yet?
No, I don't think. I know some people really find, like, for example, Christmas Chronicle and Christmas Chronicle 2, the reason a second one was made because a lot of people really like the first one. And a lot of people, because of the first one, got the attention of it. But, some people like Crimson thought it was very lackluster and not worth it in any regard and shouldn't have been made. So it's like that formula is still being, trying to solved out. But when Rudolph, came out way back in the time, to my knowledge, little to no hate because it was kind of first of its kind of that kind of Christmas storytelling to be made. And I guess the magic of Christmas movies in the past had more of that family-friendly, holding together kind of feel than nowadays of trying to create that.
Yeah, I mean, like, you got the Charlie Brown is probably the most out and out religious, I guess, example.
Mm-hmm.
To probably a little bit of a discredit on its part. However, I really don't, I just take it with it, as it is. I think, but it's also probably, I think, the closest. I don't know. I think like the closest wholesome, like that's like, and it's like one of the first ones. Granted, I think Rudolph was before it, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't like the first Christmas movie, but like the first like Christmas special. There was like something made specifically for Christmas. It was like TV and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't it's an interesting thing because I think like kind of you think like, okay, well, if you get to like the heart of it, like on your first outing, or something, we don't have to do any more. But then people keep making them, and there's all kinds of different ones and everything. But
going back to the desensitized, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, there's and there's things to like and a bunch of them. There's things not to like. And of course everything's cyclical. So I can't name a bunch of like 70s Christmas specials that I really like. I can name a couple of 80s ones that I like, or so I think everything kind of comes out of fashion and then goes back in. So we're just in like a bad period right now. But let me tell you something. Christmas with the Kranks. Whoa, boy.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen them yet, but I am, at the time of recording, haven't seen them yet, but hopefully I'd like to see Violent Night and Spirited, which both look pretty good to me.
They might be good.
Yeah, actually,
they're doing different stuff.
Those do look like fun.
But let me tell you, not as much fun as Blair's Call to the Family, huh? Huh?
All right. What do you want to say about that?
What do I want to say about that? Wow, that's a weird that she would call in this movie. I don't know why.
Oh, hold on. Before we get to that, we have to talk about the Botox scene, right? Because the Botox scene.
Oh yes, okay. The infamous Botox scene.
It was funny, right?
No,
it was supposed to be.
It was quite a gag.
Botox, it was just a new thing at the time. Okay, everybody had Botox in their movies.
I mean, it's definitely in the early 2000s. Were they trying to make fun of Trump?
No. They were trying to make fun of just like okay, people are doing like this plastic surgery and everything, but it makes them look like monsters. So why are they? They don't look younger. They just look like gross people. Why are they doing this?
Did you guys get the symbolism that he's a monster for this movie?
Yes, he's a monster.
Yeah.
Little on the nose, but
I think a little on the nose was the food selection that they had of peaches and cottage cheese, because they're in a hospital and Nora was reading books to probably sick kids.
Just sick kids.
The Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
So I don't know how far back along the bit was created to get to this punchline.
Well, they set up one joke that could have been okay, where she's reading How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and I was waiting for the kids to be like, "Yeah, just like your husband."
Honestly, at this point, yes, I actually was waiting for the kids to point out her husband as an irony, or them.
Yeah, like just like, because they were putting it on so thick, and then it just like, nope, we're doing the Botox thing. Wait, why was he? He was dressed like Don Johnson from Miami Vice, but his shirt
kind of was, yeah.
Like, why? Why did they do that?
To make him look tropical.
It's just, I don't. And also, like, they had to have told him, like, at like the Botox place or something, like, yeah, you're not going to probably be able to eat anything for a little bit while your facial, before they relax.
Yeah, but isn't it funny that he's spilling food on himself and he can't eat properly?
Okay, real talk. You got Botox.
I'm not. I'm gonna do what they told. I'm not gonna go eat. That's the first thing.
No. I'm saying, like, you got Botox. You don't know about the whole eating thing, right? But you're going in there. You eat something. It doesn't work out. Do you stop or do you keep going?
Obviously, I just keep scarfing it down and having it pour down my chest and down my shirt, dribbling out of my mouth like a baby. Yeah.
I think
Make a
it's
fool out of yourself.
upsetting. Well, they used peaches that just fell out, didn't really show anything, and then water. That was very.
God.
I think they should have gone with the cottage cheese on his plate. You would have actually seen some residue on him. Make it more of a mess. If they're going with the mess tactic that everything's just going to fall out of his mouth, do something more messy.
You want to double down?
double down.
Well,
I
I'm
mean-
sure
I mean,
with the
there
cottage
is-
cheese on a plate, he definitely attempted to eat it,
There
but they
is
never
a-
showed that.
There is a joke to be had here in an absurdist comedy, but
There
there
is
is a joke to be had here in an absurdist comedy, but the problem is that it lacks the setup and it lacks the payoff. It just goes and goes and goes.
This like a Peter Sellers kind of thing. Like he flips like a chicken onto a lady's head or something. I don't know. Like there's definitely some just like weird sort of almost gross out kind of humor.
Yeah,
which would be pretty dated by this point, like in 2004, but still, I don't know why they. I don't think Tim Allen can do absurdist stuff.
Oh no, he definitely can't. That's what we found out in this scene.
It just doesn't work. His fucking eyebrows. Oh my god.
Fucking
I
evil,
wonder what that
sinister.
was.
He doesn't. I like how he doesn't even look like him though. Like they put like somebody else's face on his face.
Took his face off.
His face off.
Oh.
Nicolas Cage as Luther Crank.
That may have been better.
That would have been something to see.
That would have been. Yeah, no, I think some of the humor would have landed more.
Well, look at you. Look at you pointing out the casting.
Look at you. You're doing such a good job. Yeah, they should have. Hey, 2004 Christmas with the Kranks. Cast Nicolas Cage instead of Tim Allen. It's funny. That actually would have worked. That's the weird thing.
So people could just deep fake it.
Actually, yeah, somebody make a deep fake of that, please.
That is
I'm
the
gonna
only way.
watch
That
that.
is the only way I will get to ever rewatch this movie.
Yeah, deep fake Nicolas Cage as Luther Crank. I'm looking at his. Yeah, what do they do?
Makeup.
His eyebrow. Like okay,
Makeup.
yeah. So they like skin tone his eyebrows and they put like a fake strip of eyebrow on top, but they don't even look like his regular
and
eyebrows.
thus the
though.
Cheeto Man was born.
And just doesn't make any sense.
All right, so let's now I think we can move along to Blair's phone
Now-
call.
Blair's phone call, which I know we've used it a couple times already, but yeah, Deus Ex Machina away.
See,
Blair,
some of them, that doesn't make too much sense because we've already established why would she do it last second, and the answer is because it's a surprise. Why would she still call even if it was a surprise instead of just showing up? Because then that would be a true surprise.
Yeah,
Because
also-
presumably they'd
also
be
doesn't
having
make
their
sense.
party, and they could be like, "All right, let's take a cab from the airport to our parents' house and surprise them at the party they're going to have every single year." That's what the surprise would be. Not, I'm calling a day before to let you know I'm coming over. Surprise.
I mean, look, if you're if you're actually trying to surprise someone, you try to include people in on it to help you keep your secret. So she would have called their neighbors, and the neighbors would have told her that they're planning to go on vacation.
Yeah.
Theoretically, the neighbors that come over for every year for Christmas party would help them try to keep the secret up until a point where they realize they're going on vacation. They would tell her. So
Here's an interesting thing.
I guess I wouldn't really call my neighbors or anything.
well, in this world,
really like your neighbors.
where the neighbors are.
No, I like my neighbors.
Yes, in this cult.
Yeah, in this
This
cult,
cult,
it makes more
everyone's
sense.
number.
Remember, in this cult, it makes more sense because
she
they're all.
babysat all their kids.
She babysat all their kids and made them all feel like they were family whenever she came home from the summers, for school or
Weird.
whatever. So in this world, that makes more sense.
How would you feel if the neighborhood likes your kid more than they like you, like by a wide margin?
I'll take it.
I'd be proud of my kid. Good job.
There you go. There you go.
You have better social standing than I
If
do.
they're so obsessed with her that they'll have a speech
I mean,
Then
she's
I'll be a
got
little
Peace
weirded
Corps, so I think that kind of says something about her.
The Peace Corps that she left after like 3 weeks.
Well, yeah, she's got a
she's supposed to
boyfriend
be there
now.
for a year.
She doesn't need
And
to
she's
help
getting
them.
married.
Yeah.
That's the
With Rick.
stupidest thing I think I've ever heard. That's the stupidest plotline in the movie so far. I'm calling it right now.
Oh wow, big words.
You know what? Never mind. I'm not going to do that.
Not going to commit because we haven't got to the honey ham yet. You sure you don't want to commit?
No, I don't want to commit to it.
Oh,
I can't. I can't in good conscience commit to it. Yeah, I don't know this whole. Yeah, because also though, like, okay, you send your daughter away to the Peace Corps. I don't know why you would do that, anyways, but you know you did.
I'm assuming she wants to go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I nobody's holding the gun to her and saying you got to join the Peace Corps right now. But she comes in this situation that she doesn't call. You know, she surprises you, right? And you know, she comes, and it's been 3 weeks, and she has a boyfriend that she's marrying. How much do you freak out in that moment? Like,
well, in the surprise scenario where she just shows up, they're not going to be here. They went on vacation.
That's true. Okay, fair enough.
Which would be great.
Would you be like at all like concerned though? Like, okay, I sent my daughter over to another country.
Well,
She's coming
they
back with somebody I don't know.
they have a throwaway line to kind of explain it away. Like they've been together before, so they know each other. Like I think they went to college together. That was the thing.
No, she says it since they were kids. So how do her parents not know who this guy is then? Because they don't know what he looks like.
I don't know. They did acknowledge that they knew him through the name Rick.
Yeah, Ricky. Yeah,
but they didn't know his personality or what he looked like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a problem.
So I assume like because it's also implied by the film and the sheet. Again, this is me writing the script for them, so shoot it down.
Good job.
Yeah, it's one of the things I do for films I don't like because you want to try to improve what I got here. So they imply that she goes abroad. She studies abroad. Not necessarily like she doesn't go to a local college. She goes to a different state college or she goes somewhere else for college and study at university. I got the message from the film that college that she went to is where she met her boyfriend originally, and they had just happened to meet again in the Peace Corps. Which is
world, if that was the case.
Which is convenient, but I have heard worse inconveniences from films, so that's what I got. I was more accepting of that than which was what we got, or what you guys are seeing, what you guys are saying that we got, which is that they had no idea who Ricky was.
Relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't pay too much attention to their relationship. Because I didn't really care.
That's fair.
Luther did care because he's like, I've been planning this trip for longer than they've been in a relationship together. I'm like, fair point, I guess.
As far as he knows, I guess, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't care. Just, I guess, the biggest crime of this film.
You don't care about anybody in it, really?
Yeah.
I mean, at first, at first I felt bad for like the frickin', the Kranks or whatever, but they quickly faded because
they kind of earned it by the end.
Yeah. I don't know. Sprinks, yes. We need to know. Christmas Vacation.
Luther isn't. He's a greedy guy. We know that, and he kind of goes in this turnaround. I wouldn't necessarily call Luther dumb. I think he has some sense to him. I think he should have gone to a store and bought a store-bought tree, then go to the lot and buy a bundle of branches.
You mean a bundle of 6?
He didn't know there was going to be a bundle of branches there.
Oh, he should have left.
Also, I love how that guy was like...
Yeah, they literally put it on display for him, and he's like, take it or leave it. And I'm like, I would have just fucking left.
Well, no. My favorite part of that scene is like, so, he shows up, and the guy's like, well, this is the only tree we have left. And then he was like, okay, good, I'll take it. And he's like, are you serious? Like, I was joking. You don't have to take this one.
$75.
Yeah.
Your sign says $15.
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand.
I'm like, at that point, I was very annoyed. Just like, what
a dick.
What a apparently supporting community that I've been told that this has been. You know.
Again, it's all about the money. Nobody actually cares about the.
Yeah, all about the money. Mr. Craig would have realistically, Edgar Springs, he would have just walked away and gone to a store-bought tree. That would have been better.
Yeah.
And also,
when he got home, the tree wasn't tied to his car in any way.
There was like tape. They taped it.
But the tape wasn't even on the car.
No, I know.
Yeah, it was.
And then he just chucks it.
Okay.
Even if that was the only place in town you could get Christmas trees, was that lot, you could get a fake Christmas tree.
That's what we're saying. Should have
that's what you mean.
Yeah, store-bought, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are places that sell trees. But go ahead. Yes, I agree then.
Yes. Okay, we're finding the humor in this movie just by making fun of it. So that's, it
I mean,
works.
that this is our fun with it, yes.
Yeah. I don't. Also, freaking, what an imposition that daughter's making. Oh yeah, this is going to be a big Christmas party, right?
You guys are having that same Christmas party you guys have every year.
Yeah, I'm bringing my boyfriend. He's never experienced Christmas like ever, and he really wants to.
Yeah, that's another thing that Blair. I don't know. I guess it could have been a nice like little line to add in because she's smart, a very smart kid. I feel like when she got to the party or something, she could have asked her mom, like, where's, so and so, because they say they invite friends, and none of their friends were there, so they had to invite the neighbors.
Yeah, it's interesting though.
Well, I mean, the neighborhood is also applied to be there as well normally. So
I'm not gonna. We're not gonna argue that point because we're too different on that one. But so all their friends
the movie's
are busy.
Inconsistent? Shocker.
Yes. Yeah. All their friends are busy, so there was no. If technically, I'm sure they probably invited. Here, I'll give you this. They probably invited a few choice neighbors, right? But I doubt they invited the whole neighborhood. And so the whole point of like them going, well, our friends are busy, then don't have a fucking Christmas party. Then if the people who normally are there gonna be there aren't gonna be there, more reason not to do it because you're not gonna invite those people.
It's for Blair.
Blair,
or specifically Enrique.
The witch.
Yeah, it's more for Enrique than yeah. It's more for this guy they don't even know.
Yeah, this movie's a mess.
It makes me hate Christmas, and
Yeah, honestly, I've never felt so bitter about Christmas until this movie, and that sucks.
It waters down the experience.
It really does.
But where something funny comes up, which is a bit shocking to me.
Yeah.
Luther freaking tackles Spike.
He does.
Yes.
Okay.
Into I have a deer ornament.
Don't psychoanalyze me on this, but I do have. There's something I usually will almost always find funny in something, and that's like the overmatched aggression, or or like the tackling a kid or something, or the comedy of.
So you must really like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
I do, yeah. It's just like the absurdity of like going like way overboard on
your football. You're an adult is football tackling a kid.
Yes. Yeah, like it's like way too that overreaction. I like that and stuff. So I did like that, but it was like, wow, that's oof. That's actually what he was going to go to jail for, not the stealing the Christmas tree.
Stealing the Christmas tree, but too.
How do you? Okay, so
this is interspliced with the Hickory Ham stuff. So do we want to tackle the Christmas tree theft, quote unquote, or the Hickory Ham first?
Hickory Ham's funnier. Oh, theft. Okay, never mind. Let's do the theft first.
Oh, the Hickory Ham's funnier, so we'll save the better for later.
It is.
It is.
It's funnier. It's funnier.
It has more fun in concept. So I'll give it that.
I'm saying it's funnier just because I'm sure us talking about it is going to be more fun than the theft part. But
All right, so
theft.
I,
The theft.
I like.
You like the honey ham?
Well, no, I was going to say I like the Luther and Spike's interaction with the tree and the baby's first Christmas ornament breaking.
Yeah, that was at least well timed, just not well delivered.
Yeah.
Where Spike's talking about Christmas and he's like, "All right, great story. So let's move this tree." I'm like, "Okay, yeah." I like that he's just trashing this kid.
Yep.
Not caring about him at all.
Well, it's Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle.
I like that Spike. I feel like Spike knows the importance of that ornament, but he smashes it more anyway, just to get right back at him. It adds to their back and forth. If that's true, it adds to their back and forth. Irrelevant. It also, I mean, even if that's not why he does it, it's still funny because it adds to the back and forth.
You know what? This probably would have been a better move if we got more of Spike and him together. They were a good team, man. Yeah,
could have gotten more humor out of it.
Agree.
This was before post-credit scenes were prevalent, but it would have been nice to see Wes and his wife come home and see all the broken ornaments everywhere.
Yeah, did anybody count how many ornaments they broke?
There was a lot.
I counted 9, I think I heard. I heard the cracks and crinkling at least 9 times.
Mm-hmm. They broke a lot.
Yeah.
They broke a lot more than none.
This is after he swore he would not break anything because otherwise they're gonna die. Which Coltan, I believe it.
What's the logical thinking about bringing the tree across the street in a wagon vertically like that? At that point,
the logic is there is none.
As a full-grown man, would just pick up the tree because you can carry that.
The other thing, though, but the logical way isn't funny. Granted, the illogical way isn't much funnier.
The logical way wasn't funny. It goes down the driveway and the cops, for some reason, just happen to be there.
They call. All the neighbors call.
Yeah, I assume the neighbors might have called them. So
yeah. Ned called them.
Now with the binoculars, something's going on over there.
Crank's losing it. He's still in Wes's tree.
The Grinch comes full circle. Springs, how did you feel about the quote unquote borrowing of somebody else's tree?
I think this is a character that hasn't been shown before, so there's no real yin yang, feel of Luther with them. So I think they're very neutral, which helps with the whole community turning their back on Luther and everything. Yeah. So I think that helps it a little. And it's a nice thing because they have history, which is the main reason why he gives Luther the key to do such a thing, because him and Nora are nice and have past great Christmas traditions and everything. So I think he initially caved and was fine, but the whole thing with Spike and Luther being eyed inside his house by Ned and Walt, and the neighborhood just watching them, it did get a little absurd.
Yeah, it's
especially the convenience that the cops were there without being called.
They called them.
I could buy that they were called. Yeah,
because that makes sense.
The stupid part with the cops is that Vic Frohmeyer is real tight with the cops and everything, and they don't know the name of his son.
Well, they didn't even see him.
He fucking vanished into thin air.
Well, yeah, but then they're like, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah, that.
You have an imaginary friend named Spike.
Yeah, they didn't know the kid's name, which sure I guess could happen. They don't know him, even though.
Yeah.
In this world,
even though
probably should.
It's unlikely.
Vic Frohmeyer has 6 children.
Yeah. And why would Spike even come back if you left in the first place?
Is this illegal? Is this illegal?
Is this illegal?
He said 3 times.
Yeah, it was funny, wasn't it?
Hilarious.
Because of course it is.
I don't know why did he leave? Because I thought he left because
I thought he left because the cops
Popo.
got, yeah.
Did he leave to get the keys? He had the keys,
No,
right?
he already had the keys.
So I don't know why he left.
It only works when
if
it's
he left
funny.
because the cops were there, why would he go back for Luther? The guy who tackled him and almost stole his $20.
Also, how did Spike get the key to the house?
I don't know. Do you think Luther would have it?
Yeah, you know.
Maybe he pickpocketed half of them or something. I don't know.
Maybe he left to pick it up off the ground when the tree fell. Who knows?
There you go.
No, that's not what happened. I'm not writing it.
You wrote it. It's too late.
No.
You put your stamp on it, your signature.
Also, more proof that Luther is not a Scrooge is he didn't take his $20 when he tackled Spike.
It's true.
That's true.
Spike, you're going to pay for everything. Like, I only got $20. I don't want your money.
I don't want your money. I want your life.
I want you to burgle.
I want you to burgle with me. Doesn't just roll off the tongue.
So
Spike and Luther Burgle Company. Got a ring to it.
Also, what time of day do you think it currently is? It's not a big factor.
Like 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I was thinking. Midday.
Beckers are also watching that. Is Ned the Becker dad?
I have no
Or is
idea.
it
I don't know
two
the
different
names of any of
characters?
these people.
Um,
You mean the alcoholics?
well, the Beckers, we don't really get a good view of the dad. So, maybe?
Okay, I'm only asking because it shows the
answer.
Beckers watching them with the tree again.
No. The Becker's dad is Randy.
Okay, it shows them again, and he's drinking, and I'm like, this is the guy's whole shtick. Every scene he's in, he's holding a beer.
Well, you need an alcoholic on a. In a Christmas movie, you need to have somebody who likes to drink. It's true.
I'm gonna take your word for it.
Take my word for it, and you will be okay.
We can talk about the carolers. We kind of briefly brought it up. We didn't actually cover it.
Oh, you want to go more to the carolers? Okay.
The carolers, yeah.
Yeah, where
You mean the
Walt-
psychos?
Yeah. Why did yeah. I was like the carolers themselves were fine, but I forgot about the window part. Then they're psychos.
Are they Jewish? Buddhist?
That was funny.
Yeah.
Why the Jewish rationalizing why there's no Christmas decoration.
Well, Crank is a Jewish name.
I like how much Walt's, I guess, just attitude towards the Cranks made the lady get so manipulated in what he was saying.
Oh yeah, he used her big time.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
that used to- really? Wow.
These are right now. Some.
Well,
Yeah.
I think he started part of some government conspiracy or something. I don't know. Fucking voice.
Apologies, Crimson. Something else about the carolers?
No, I just don't think we covered that much. I don't know if anyone else said.
I don't got much else on him.
I mean,
got some?
we do get an iconic image of Frosty thanks to the carolers in the basement.
Yeah, the.
That was a good shot. I did like that. Evil Frosty face.
That was the Home Alone furnace monster right there.
No. Yeah.
It's them kind of reality.
Yeah, they were like, oh, whoa.
And they covered like 90% of all the existing Christmas songs in this movie. There's so many Christmas songs. in this.
I wasn't a huge
It's a lot.
fan.
I don't think all of. There's one part. Oh shoot, where is it? I think it's right when the worker at the grocery store is telling her about the hickory honey ham. They put in a little bit of the Nutcracker for like one scene, and then it cuts to a completely different song.
They crammed this full of a whole lot.
I am not
Yeah.
into the.
Talk about oversaturation on
Yeah.
your soundtrack. This is not how you do it.
I don't, and it's like early 2000s. There's all this like up tempo, like rock versions of everything.
Yeah.
There
Not
were some
into
rock
it.
versions.
Yeah, I'm not into it. It didn't fit the tone of the movie at all. Is my issue with it. I wasn't against them in general, but I was just like, the tone of this movie does not fit up tempo rock Christmas songs. I don't know. So now, do we want to talk about the
Hickory honey ham.
hickory honey ham? Blair's
Sprinks, you thought it was funnier, so let's hear what you got.
Blair's favorite food.
I think it was a little funny that when she's asking the worker where it is, the rival is overhearing it and like continuing with her.
It's a problem that she has to ask for it, considering it's her daughter's favorite thing.
That's true. Well, it is. Is it Christmas Eve at this point?
Yeah,
it's Christmas Eve. Yeah.
So they could have moved everything around, but still asking is probably faster than going up and down every aisle.
But she would know where that goes, regardless.
They do this every year.
Maybe.
No. They know.
No.
You're not getting out of this one. She would know where it is because she says it's her daughter's favorite thing.
It is, but not every single year a grocery store puts things in the same exact location.
Oh,
it could be anywhere in the store. It would have its own setup because.
So you're saying she hasn't been to the grocery store here at all in the last month, maybe?
I don't think so. It hasn't. It's a Chips Market for the white chocolate. And that was a different store.
Well, that's a specialized store. This was just a grocery store. I definitely think they've gone shopping within a month. Most people don't usually wait more than a month to go grocery shopping.
Well, not everyone's the Kranks.
So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know if I've been to the store in a month. All I know is that it wouldn't be in more than likely the same location it was the year prior.
All I know.
But it did have a sign indicating, like, this is where they're located.
Yeah. All I know is that lady wanted that ham.
They both wanted that ham.
Oh, yeah.
Not enough for her to actually run. She just sped walked.
And then just threw the freaking cart at the Nora. Instead of flying.
I don't think she threw her cart. It was another cart was turning, and Nora just landed on top of the cart and just went skiing.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, you know what? That tracks, yeah.
Also, another random community member we've never seen before.
Oh, Marty.
Well, not Marty. I meant the lady with the shopping cart, like racing.
Oh, yeah, she's very sinister.
Yeah, she's like, hey, that's my thing.
Sinister, but like the meaning.
I know. Yeah, she's like, oh yeah, I'm just a nice little old lady. Yes.
Oh, she's not nice.
Why don't you just slow down a little bit? I don't have to get anywhere. She could have been. I don't know. She could be a very nice old lady other than Christmas time when she really wants that honey baked ham.
Yeah, and then she starts buying it from someone else.
Oh, that guy! I can't remember his name. The dad or the husband.
Saying it's not for sale. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really funny. He's a really funny like a comedic actor. He's always just kind of like what do you call it? Like he's usually kind of like a lower, like a less than kind of guy. Something like he's always like really timid and very I can't, I don't know, but
soft spoken.
Soft spoken. Yeah, he's always like, he's always in a situation where he's always empowered by like, other stuff. It's pretty funny, but he is not really funny in this scene. Let me say.
No, there's a function used that to me is they used it for comedic effect, but it makes no sense. A checkout machine does not reverse the beep effect when an item gets pulled away.
Could.
That was just her physically removing it from the computer.
Listen, you don't know the rules of this world. It could work in this.
Well, we've all decided this is a fantasy world because the Frosties are actually alive. So,
I mean, this could have easily been a Hot Fuzz scenario with this town.
That's true.
I would have loved to have seen how much she paid for that ham. She was talking about college.
She was like,
funds, so she was throwing
she was willing to shell at least a few hundred here.
Oh, I could guess 1,000 at least.
See, the question is, would a sensible person even ask that for a ham?
You don't understand how
she's desperate.
No, I mean, she threw out the the checkbook. So the person would have to be, well, what about 1,000? She's like, okay, 1,000. I don't know if a normal person would ask for 1,000 for him, even if they have a blank check. It's pretty.
Well,
out there.
Let's see. Luther was the greedy one, and throughout this whole movie, I wrote in my notes, I didn't find it that surprising that when Blair called, Nora went a whole 180 going all Christmas, because she has been wanting Christmas pretty much in the background of this whole entire movie.
And you, Luther, you've been obsessed with this stupid idea of yours. Wasn't stupid 5 minutes ago. Yeah, 5 minutes ago.
I thought the Nora going back to just all Christmas was okay.
Yeah, I'm not upset with her turn. I'm more annoyed.
She never felt like she was totally in line with the whole Christmas vacation anyways. Yeah.
I find it more believable that she paid far more for this ham above market prices, she said, in comparison to Luther buying the tree for $75 of the condition it was in.
I agree she paid above market. I just don't think she's insane enough to spend $1,000 on ham.
I don't know. Did you see how heartbroken she was when that
Also, is there only one store in this place?
It's the chips market. She could have asked Rex if he had any.
Stop
Yeah, ask the butcher.
You're making it too funny.
Well, no. The butcher knows what the chocolate is. He probably doesn't know where the meat is.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
there you go.
The chocolate
Rex
knows where the meat is.
Okay,
but the butcher knows
Rex
where the
is the
chocolate
butcher, though, Springs.
Well, no, you got to ask the guy in electronics where the ham is.
It goes the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker.
All right, so if the butcher doesn't know where the meat is, he knows where the candy is. The baker would know where the meat is, right? That's where the math goes. And that means the electronic guy would know where the bread is.
And the candlestick maker, he's a sick fuck.
This just sounds like a parody version of Tim Curry's discussion in Clue about who shot Mr. Body. Anywho, she does one plastic bag. I think that's a mistake already. She's not carrying it from the bottom. That's another mistake already of how much she likes it. She bumps into someone, which causes it to rip. That's weird. It's in the shape of
an egg. Egg-shaped, but not flat.
It's not good for rolling, but it rolls really, really well.
It's got perpetual motion.
Yeah. It defies laws of physics, and
they did a whole Miss Marvel Ant-Man head or whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty much
the only thing I can give it, because I don't think it was a camera trick, at least from what I saw.
It is slanted.
Is at an angle? The parking lots.
I went back to check this morning. It is actually slanted, which is nice, but it doesn't help.
No. But
isn't it convenient that it just happened to stop where a tire would go?
And it isn't convenient that the semi is speeding in a slow lane.
She could have grabbed it.
She could have. She just stopped and she's like looked at it and go,
no!
Yeah, that I found comedic. Her horrific screaming on the sidewalk.
Listen, she's dealt with Michael Myers. She knows how to scream. Okay.
Yeah. And a very for this movie, kudos, but a very lackluster transition of her saying no to Luther saying no.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
But at least it's a transition.
Yeah, you gotta give him. Actually, we don't have to give them anything. Fuck them.
No, yeah,
you don't get points. You don't get points for doing the bare minimum.
I'm glad they turned the camera on at least. That was pretty good work on the camera.
I wish they didn't. I wish it was just all the sound.
We listen to the movie like it was a podcast. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
An audiobook of the actual book.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ugh.
Also, Nora complains we're not Cubs fans. Why are there bears? Chicago Bears on the tree.
I did it was funny how
wait. Springs. What ornaments do you have? You have a freaking ranch bottle ornament.
You have the most random assorted ornaments out there, which is fine. I think she could have just been like, "Hey, you got a tree, good job," and not complain what's on the tree.
Well,
it was
we've
kind
already established.
It is kind of annoying that she does pick on the choice of ornaments on the tree.
Because at least he got a tree. She didn't even get the
I would have
ham.
wondered where he got the
I
ornaments.
would have wondered too. Yeah.
Oh, she did. She did do that, which is fine. But
Smoked trout.
she's like, don't mention hickory honey ham to me ever again.
It is now a bad word in the house.
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember. Was it ever brought up in front of her presence after that?
Well, they had
through Luther or someone
Marty
else.
bring it?
Yeah, Marty
brought it. Yeah.
He brought it, but was that said in her presence or anything?
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think so. So they kept with it. They stuck with it.
Oh, good job. Good job.
Good job.
Very proud of you, writers.
I don't even think Blair said it.
She didn't even ask for it.
Yeah, we didn't get a payoff for that, which sucks.
No.
They made it all.
No, Blair wanted a
asked for
pie.
was the pot. Yeah.
Pie. They made cookies and pie.
By the way, anyone find it comedic that to get Frosty on the roof, Luther actually made a noose?
I said that
absolutely, yeah. I smirked at the imagery. I'm like, this is kind of funny.
Yeah, it was amusing. What is stupid about that noose is when he slid off, it just
magically wrapped itself around his leg.
Well, there's that, but did you guys see how it came off of Frosty? It just came off. Like it was laid on top of him, not wrapped around his neck. It was just laid on top of his neck. So it just slumped off. It was so stupid.
Sorry, I couldn't notice that with the CGI that was done.
What did Frosty break into? It looked like confetti.
Looked like
for as heavy as he was pretty breakable.
I don't usually complain about sound effects.
He was
the
hollow.
Sound effects of Frosty breaking was horrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Visuals were bad. Tim Allen falling was bad.
There was nothing good about
ahead
that.
of ourselves again.
There was not a lot to be enjoyed from that scene, no.
Yeah.
Except for Tim
funny.
Allen. Yeah, Tim Allen falling off that roof, really poorly edited together. It was.
Good
I'm
thing
using it in
his
meta
leg still
sense, but
works.
nothing for related to the story that made the humor good.
He would have definitely gotten some leg issues on that. I don't know if he would have broken his leg.
He's
but
lucky he
something
didn't
would have
pass
happened.
out from the blood rushing to his head.
Yeah.
He was there for a while.
I like how nobody tried to help him.
Oh, the fireman did.
Well, there was people there before
Vic
the firemen
held
were
him
there.
up, and that was it.
Yeah.
He was just holding him, not being.
And then
really helpful.
the firemen did bad because they just like cut him down and didn't even,
Yeah.
have anyone under him.
It's funny, you see.
It is funny, but is it realistic?
No.
Because you can be
also
realistic
it's
and
annoying
funny.
the firemen don't count down. They just cut him nonchalantly.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the kind of fireman I want. I don't, because if they start counting down, I'm going to be worrying about what's going to happen. But if they just do it, I'm not worrying about it.
Ryder, as we can have seen so far with the cops in this community, the firemen are nonchalant Christmas lovers, and no one ever gets harmed in Christmas Town.
Christmas Town.
Yes.
So obviously they just drop him on his face.
Oh yeah, he's totally fine.
Hey, he didn't donate to the firefighters fund, so fuck
He
him.
didn't buy their calendar either.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's a sexy calendar, let me
It
tell
is.
you.
That's the best calendar. The firefighters.
Usually, yes.
Going on, if you allow, the next scene
I want that to-
was
Please spread that throughout the internet. That voice clip of Crimson's saying this calendar.
oh, Crimson said a couple things so far in this recording that could be used.
Yeah. I don't care.
I
Okay.
like the scene of quote unquote the first interaction with Marty talking with Nora in the liquor store.
That was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, the awkwardness
So random.
of it, I think worked very well.
I'll agree. The awkwardness worked really
It
well.
worked. Yeah, it worked.
'Cause
In
you
the
could
end
tell
when she was just like, "I have no idea who he is."
Yeah, like that sums up like a good that rounds out the scene really well. But I thought this was going to be turned into like a bit of a character lesson because she invited a complete stranger and turned into nothing.
Yeah, I thought she was so desperate that she invited strangers. Yeah, nothing really came of it.
Nothing really.
Other than that, he brought honey hickory ham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew Blair. He knew where she lived.
Like I thought they were
He
gonna
knew
do something
everybody
like
at the
where he was
party.
gonna be a weirdo or something. Like that would have been funny.
When did you guys figure out he was Santa?
It didn't. I didn't tell like he was in it.
I don't think I can answer that because I've seen this so many times. I can't really recall on my first take.
I figured it out when the priest didn't know who he was. I don't know why that clicked in my head. Yeah, but the moment that happened,
because the priest would know everybody. Yeah.
I was too frustrated with everything else to bother caring. So,
okay,
I didn't find out until he actually was dressed up as Santa. And I'm like, oh, it's Marty.
It's Marty McFly.
Whoa, that would have been a movie.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox's.
It might have even made this worse.
Wow. Wouldn't go that far.
Another weird thing, which kind of followed, is Luther putting up Frosty. In Vic Frohmeyer's house, all 5 of his sons and his wife are watching, I guess 2 of them play a split-screen game. I don't know what it is about that just look that feels so off to me.
Oh, okay.
It felt weirder than the interaction of Marty and Nora in the liquor store. Like, it just didn't feel real.
I didn't even notice they were doing that.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say like.
That's very normal. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's so normal that maybe it's because it's so normal. It felt weird.
The tree was covered in American flags.
Yeah.
What I found weird is that all his kids were dressed basically exactly the same.
Yeah, they're all in red.
Yeah, they're all dressed like their dad, basically.
It felt, I don't know, maybe it just had like that, I don't know what to call it, that dystopian 1950s like Fallout feel of like, oh, the commercialized poster family.
There's definitely like it looks like a 50s or 70s like ranch style house or something with like the wood paneling and everything. Definitely doesn't look like of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of get it's like a weird juxtaposition of like too many different things.
I don't even think I looked at his kids. I just saw his tree, and then they went to the next scene.
They didn't give you much time to look at it, huh?
It was very quick.
Yeah, they kind of.
Hey kids, he's putting up Frosty. Let's go.
He's putting up Frosty. Look at Scrooge is putting up Frosty.
I forgot about Frosty's demon eyes.
Yeah, did they start glowing red? How much did that cost?
That was one of the compliments that I wrote in my notes. Was I liked what they were doing with the camera and the whole uneasiness of whether or not he was going to fall on the roof with the Bengals.
I knew he was going to fall.
Well, I mean, we all knew he was going to fall, but the way the camera was being used,
the camera was used well.
I guess, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'll give him credit on that one.
I noted that.
You noted it.
And Frosty's a real living being, right?
That's what I got from this movie.
Man, so he's responsible for murder, isn't he?
There are some questions at the end after going through the whole film I want to bring up.
Okay.
To just pick, but
sure. Sprinks, I forgot to bring up during the ham bit. I wrote "Ham on the Run" during the
classic.
Rolling down the road.
Classic.
Ham on the run.
What a reference to those
inside reference. Yeah.
Well, no, there's 2 people maybe listening who are like, "Oh, I've played that mobile game."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Yum.
So the neighborhood comes together though for him, in spite of him being a greedy Scrooge.
Yeah. Oh, okay. A question to bring up: when Luther's hanging there, and Walt goes, "I called 911. Bev told me." Do any of you think Walt actually called 911?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe it. Walt,
he's still a human being.
He's not a dick.
He doesn't want to see him dead or anything.
I'm just trying to think. How'd he call? Did he run back home, call 911, and come back out to the crowd?
2004. They had cell phones. They might have been big, but they existed.
Does he have a cell phone?
We don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I thought he said Bev called 911.
No. Bev told him.
Oh no, he could have just called before he came, unless he was there from the beginning.
Yeah, all these people spy through their windows. I'm sure.
I'm sure Bev told him. He called the police, then came over. Would be the logical way that happened. But if he was there before, like at the beginning, when everyone's starting to crowd around because he's about to fall, and they're offering to help. Like if he was in the crowd at that point, then yeah, I'd probably be.
That's what I thought would happen, and me personally, I don't think he called 911 at all. I think it was another like old man kind of bit.
I think that would have been taken too far into the do it. Like if he saw Luther having like a heart attack on the road, like, old man heart attack. I'm not calling the cops. I'm like, no, I think he'd call the cops. There's a certain level. Well, we said several ways he could have, but it's fine. I had something. Darn it, it's gone.
Well, too bad.
They were
Melted
giving
away
a speech. Vic, you said I think you were listening to the speech. Yeah.
No, I got it. So everybody in the street has their windows open. Why? Because there's so many times when people are just looking at each other's houses and their windows.
It's a cult.
It's very weird.
It's the homeowners association requirement or something. I don't know.
Gotcha.
I'll go, yeah.
Yeah, they have the drapes
several
open.
times.
Only thing I can think of is they'd have their drapes open to show off their trees, like through the window. But I don't know why they would find time to just. I mean, every day they see all these houses and lights, so maybe it's like, oh, just like sightseeing the neighborhood.
Well, I mean, even Walt's window was just his dining room table where he's eating with his wife.
Crimson, that's an excellent question. Does Walt have a tree?
Probably in the living area, but we don't get to see that.
We didn't really go through his living area. We know there were some decorations in the house, but they're obviously having a very bad Christmas time too, so maybe they didn't feel like celebrating to a great degree either.
We've established enough with these neighbors that I'm definitely willing to believe he has one somewhere in his house.
Yeah, that's true.
Without having to see it.
That's true.
Because then he'd be a hypocrite.
Frosty on his tree. No way he did that. Or frosty on his roof.
The town would have helped them. The neighbors would have helped them. They were offering to do it for Luther. So I'm pretty sure they did it just instinctively.
The Frosty guy that went on the roof. He put up Frosty for him.
Yeah, should have been. Yeah, we got to just start racing to the end of this because that's what they did in the movie.
We're pretty close. We're almost there.
Almost there. We got like another half hour, I think.
Yeah, we can skip through most of those.
It's nothing. Like,
yeah, it's just montage.
Accordion stuff is like 2 minutes that we don't need to talk about.
No, that was great. Do you think he actually played the accordion?
I would hope so.
I think so.
It seems like a Dan Aykroyd thing to.
It seemed to match up to me.
Yeah,
I think it worked.
But the pan flute, was that real? I don't know.
Probably not.
Who was playing the pan flute? Was it the father?
I think it was Ned.
It was
Ned.
No, it was on the roof.
Ned was on the roof.
No, it was
Randy.
Obby.
It was Obby. Oh, okay.
It was Obby.
Christmas card guy.
Okay.
Names.
I know.
Such wonderful characters too.
Dude,
that
it's
make
a whole
them memorable.
cavalcade of.
Who brought all these instruments? I mean, even the cops had their instruments.
Oh, that
to
wasn't
play.
the Enrique brought them from Peru.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. All these firemen just immediately went off duty.
It's like Christmas Vacation where the cops are in the house.
I do get a bit of a story now. So because this has happened before. My the neighborhood I grew up in, we threw a barbecue, and we got the firemen called on us because they saw the fire from the fire pit in the backyard, and they actually hung out with us and had a party with us. Once they came, once they were on call, they recognized my dad from work, and they had a back and forth, and then they stayed for some chicken because we had a lot of spare chicken, and they also just gathered around to warm themselves around the fire. It is a thing that happened in real life, so I'm willing to accept it more here.
Nice,
especially in this town.
Especially in this fucking town.
This fucking town.
And anyone find it funny? All the montage jokes of setting up Christmas of Luther smoking the cinnamon sticks.
Is this illegal? What is this?
I looked at them like I actually couldn't tell if they were cinnamon sticks or cigars. So were they cinnamon sticks?
Yeah,
I think there were cinnamon sticks.
They definitely weren't cigars.
That's dumb.
No, it's funny. You just don't get it.
I clearly don't.
It was the father, the priest, just standing around doing nothing.
Yeah. But Marty comes in and he's like, "Oh, father," and then he's like, "Who is that?
Who the heck is this guy?
I don't know who that is."
The blonde cop is an idiot. He's probably the dumbest character in this.
Yeah, he's pretty dumb.
I don't know why they made him an idiot. They could have just made him like the other cop, where it's like reluctant, lazy cop guy.
Yeah, I'm like he did not pick up any hints at all.
No.
Also, his partner could have told him, which is also a problem, before they got in the car, which is a little. It's another niche in this movie's coffin, I guess.
I liked that they actually had to stop a burglary during
their feigned bit that turned real.
Okay.
Yeah, their domestic abuse.
Fine. The whole story of the burglar.
Oh God, don't.
Not needed.
No.
They should have had Dewey be like smart about it.
The last 15 minutes of this movie introducing a new character. That was.
No, that always works.
It was horrible.
It always works.
I will say something that was horrible to me. Like one of the worst things, maybe. That's a big stretch. And everything we've covered so far, I don't know. But man, when the cops pick up Blair and Enrique from the airport, and it goes to super sharp cuts of making cookies to the cop, to Spike on the radio, and just back and forth, I was freaking out.
I wrote that down.
Close my eyes.
Probably one of the worst edits I've seen in a movie. That was pretty bad.
It just doesn't match.
It's so fast. It's like a seizure warning moment.
Yeah,
almost.
The only thing it was matching was the slight like beats of the music.
I don't think it did that well.
It did do it well, but that's the only connection I can make of why the choice was there.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And Enrique, kind of a weak little man. Seeing him scream in that police car.
I think we were all supposed to scream. It's supposed to be a jump scare.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's a guy in the window.
Well, the thing, they didn't even just jump. They kept screaming. It's just a guy getting arrested.
Also,
he's never seen that before.
I know.
Okay, never mind.
Is Marty where he parked his Volkswagen Bug? Is that legal to park that close to like a fire truck?
Well, I mean, his car was parked before the fire truck got there.
Since the Bug can fly, I'm gonna go with no.
No, Marty parked first because the firemen didn't leave after they helped Luther. I just didn't know if it was legal or not.
I mean, I think you can. Is there any rules about being parked around a fire truck before the fire truck shows up? There's fire hydrants where you're not supposed to be in front of a fire hydrant, and that's marked by the curb. I don't think there was a fire hydrant by his car. But, so I think Marty's in the clear. I don't think Santa broke any rules other than beating up a person with an umbrella.
You sure you don't want an umbrella?
He trained with the Kingsman. That's why he can do it.
Yeah, there you go.
That would have made this way better. Kingsman.
Oh.
Manners maketh man.
We're coming up to a little bit that I think Crimson would like, or had like some reminiscence of another thing that he really enjoys: the classic power outage in a Christmas movie.
Classic.
A classic. Happens every time.
I didn't have much connection to it, honestly.
I thought the contextual humor of him hitting the hammer against the box was funny, because that's sometimes just how technology works.
Yeah, I wrote that down. Doesn't work. Hit it with a hammer. Works every time.
I mean,
According to movies and TV
that's what you do with a
shows.
flashlight. You hit it against your hand. It just took it to a bit of an extreme, and I'm like, that one's okay. That one passes the sniff test. That was funny.
Yeah.
To me, the electric with the Christmas lights reminded me of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, having all the troubles with the lights.
The entire
nuclear
state
power.
got turned off.
Yeah.
And when Marv got electrocuted by the faucet in Home Alone.
And in A Christmas Story, when the power got put out because of all the cords in the outlet.
Well, I didn't bring up Christmas Story, so
I just did.
Well, he didn't bring it up, so there you go.
No, poor Randy, man. He just sucks with lights. Good thing he survived that blowing up in his
Yeah, he
hands.
survived what? 3 different situations? Two at least different situations.
Yeah, two times.
Also, I guess it's a nice detail. I didn't really think on this until now with this electric talk. They used candles for lighting until the electricity came back on. They never put the candles out. Because when Luther's in the kitchen, like by himself, all the candles are still like around him and lit.
Mood lighting, scent. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's not a huge issue.
What I'm not okay with is Nora running around trying to kiss Spike with mistletoe.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. It's a little weird. I'm fine with it, but it's a little weird.
It's a little cute moment.
Little cute moment. But
Little
if it
cute.
was...
Man, if
What
only
was
we
Luther
saw
holding
the
mistletoe?
relationship on screen throughout the whole film, that might have helped one way or another.
Audience can understand what I was about to say.
I know exactly where you're gonna go, and there's no right answer.
Someone else bring up something. I'm sure we're getting near the end here.
Crimson doesn't like anything that connects to the movie Big. Okay?
There you go.
I don't like double standards. That's all I'm saying.
So to make Luther look paler, they put him in black.
Yes.
Where I don't really see a difference from him now to the beginning of the movie.
It's to cover the whole tan. That's the joke. But
he didn't have
no, I get that, but there's no visual aid. There's nothing. They didn't keep him in the tan.
That's fair.
All that matters is that the daughter thinks he looks tanner.
Oh, but don't you
So-
see?
No,
Because
well,
don't you see?
anywhere.
Because she comments that he looks like he got a tan. That's their attempt at trying to cover this up.
No, I didn't. I even wore a black turtleneck because it makes me look paler.
I guess.
How'd you
What
feel
do
about
think of
his
the whole Marty
toast?
Enrique interaction? It kind of seems a little random, and didn't really
Marty
contribute
feels
anything.
like the most random thing in this whole movie. So
It does
that-
feel a little
it's-
random, but I think it's a little helpful because Enrique knows no one at the party.
It works in the sense that we also know nothing about Marty at this point.
That's true.
yeah, they're both kind of like they're
both
like
blank
the odd
slates.
ones out. Yeah.
So I was okay with it. It was it is out of the blue and out of nowhere, but it makes more sense than a lot of other things in this film.
You know what, Ryder? Thank you for making that work. Yeah, I didn't catch that before. They were technically both outsiders in the situation. So you know what? Here we go.
There's something I'll bring up that's a bit of a cruel and unusual punishment. Is
Cruel and
the
unusual.
cops? Yeah, the cops left the window down for the burglar out of the snow.
like that.
Look. I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty sure he could just climb out, even if he was handcuffed and seatbelted.
Yeah, you just have to get like your,
Which is part of the problem here. Like they did. They could have just come. They could have just dropped him off and come back. We wouldn't have a weird storyline involving him.
But we want a weird storyline involving him. Don't you see?
What? I don't know why they made Spike so stupid.
You know what I do see
know
that.
Ryder specifically. You've mentioned before where you don't like when kids are written as stupid because they're still people.
Yeah,
and
kids. I don't
cross that line here.
Yeah, I don't inherently write kids off as stupid. They're pretty intuitive.
They can be naive.
They can be naive. They can definitely be naive. I think I was pissed off at more other aspects of this film than I did. That one actually slipped underneath my radar. Now that you bring it up, yeah, that's not good.
I mean, a kid his age, he's like 9, 10, probably.
Yeah, he would know.
He would know what a bad guy in the back of a police car is.
Yeah.
But his kids, he hasn't eaten in 7 days. It's crazy.
The burglar tells a good story. Spike would still be smart enough to verify this with the police officers.
Like a good story.
Earlier, I forget who said it now. It was either Crimson or Sinister here that said Spike came back and he had the key to the house where they took the tree.
Oh yeah.
Where does Spike have the key for the handcuffs?
I was also going to bring that up.
I have no idea. I'm going to assume he's a pickpocketer.
Cops left it in the car, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he's the key maker. Maybe this is a Matrix crossover.
Yeah, this also means that they left the cop car unlocked.
Yes.
Well, wouldn't you?
Yeah, the whole burglar thing is just not good. Do you think they put him here just for a Santa Claus reference?
Absolutely.
Because Tim Allen yells at him and he falls off the roof.
That is something. Yeah, I think the only reason they have the burglar story in here is the reason to explain the connection to Marty.
Yeah. No, they could have done. Well,
they could have done
it another way.
But they wanted Santa to knock out a burglar with the fucking umbrella.
Yeah, the way they did it is this joke. It was like the whole Botox thing. Like, how far back did they go in the joke to set up the scene?
That's a good question. One without an answer.
Like, would the Botox scene pull off better if it wasn't set in a hospital because Nora was reading to sick kids?
I didn't even really connect or care about that, so I don't think so.
No, the Botox scene would not have.
I think the Marty thing would have pulled off better if it was actually like a Santa in the mall because they went to a mall and had more connection between that and like words he said or phrases. Because the only thing he said is like, you should have gotten an umbrella.
Yeah.
I told you look like you need
Marty would need to be incorporated into the script for him to be relevant. So
yeah,
so I think the
Marty needs to progress the plot somehow.
We're not miracle workers here, okay? We can't give Marty a role in this. Come on.
Can't turn back time like the good old days.
I'm gonna say this now. We're not done with the movie, but I'll say this now. Marty's my favorite character in this movie.
What?
Well, yeah, because he's Santa Claus.
Well, I don't know that.
I think we know that.
Yeah, that's what
that's pretty obvious, Springs. It's okay. You can admit that.
He knows everybody. And
you know what? He's Santa's cousin, where he doesn't have a sleigh.
Okay, well, that was going to be one of my finishing questions. Was, do you think Marty is Santa?
Oh, we can cover that now.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I think obviously he is.
Obviously, they added a CGI monstrosity of him and his bug, and he's yelling at the top of his lungs, "Merry Christmas!" I'm pretty sure it's Santa.
He's supposed to be. That's what I'll say. I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Right. What do you think?
Yeah.
I'd say yes, but there's part of me that still doesn't believe any of that last scene is real. I don't know how else to describe it, and we'll get there when we finish the movie here. But I still don't know how I feel about the ending.
Magic is real. Okay.
Magic is real.
Dude, Frosty came alive and fucked up Tim Allen.
He was literally hanging Frosty. Like, Frosty was choking to death the entire time he was being dragged on the roof. That's how...
Can you choke snow?
No.
If it's alive.
I mean, that's implying it has lungs to breathe with.
They gave him snow lungs. He's fully articulate.
Well, Frosty the Snowman... Frosty the Snowman in the cartoon was sweating.
The cult of this town is to summon Frosty each year.
He was kind of sweating.
Well, yeah, because he's made of snow. I'm stupid. It's just called melting.
Sweating. Oh.
Yeah. So I think we found that.
I was trying to think if there's any like oxygen scenes or anything to do with like breathing in the Snowman movie that I know Crimson and Sinister adore. And one of the main reasons why we didn't choose it for one of our specials.
I feel like I remember Inhale scene from that for some reason. I'm picturing it.
Is he like smoking his dad's pipe or something? I don't know.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Frosty has a pipe.
Yeah, back to the Kranks. Luther's a little awkward. He's still so salty over his whole trip being canceled.
Yeah, how do you feel about like the whole like?
At that point, having to drop a trip last minute would suck.
Well, yeah, especially if you already spent like $3,000 on it.
Yep.
Like
that
money is wasted now because that's confirmed later. So
like, okay, like you can say that like, okay, spending $6,000 a year on Christmas, that's excessive, and that's probably a little bit, there's some waste in there, but you get to keep most of it. Like you get to keep the gifts, you get to keep all that stuff, but you plan like a 10-day vacation, you don't get to go. It costs $3,000. Big surprise, you're not getting that $3,000 back.
I'm fine with him being
explains
salty.
That with Walt, that it's already all paid for. There's no insurance on it, so it'll just go to waste.
Here's the thing, though. Here's another issue, though. He didn't pay for travel insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Luther does not strike me as somebody to go like. Actually, no, wait, never mind.
It costs money.
Yeah, that was
Of
course we're gonna go.
No, but see, you can't. So you can't then make that argument, and then he's gonna go get a tan, which is essentially a waste of money when he's going on a cruise. Luther's not a consistent character, and neither is his like selfish, selfless trait. So.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So he doesn't get to go on the trip, and they have they have a fight about it because his wife's like, "Why didn't you give a good toast? Should say thank you."
Same as me, double.
Same as me, but double. And they all just like, okay. And then he goes and he doesn't even. He literally hangs out with his daughter.
I'll say Tim Allen really acts during that scene. Like I thought you can see how awkward and tense he is. Like even when his wife is giving the toast. I think he does a very good job acting it. I don't think they succeeded in landing what they wanted to go for.
Yeah. But it's a weird thing because like he literally only hangs out with his daughter when they first get there, and then he never sees her for like the rest of the movie.
I mean, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, and then he just kind of goes off in the kitchen and just sulks.
I guess that kind of connects to what I started with at the very beginning. Is the first photo or anything ever shown is of Blair and Nora.
Like I'm fine with him going.
They have a stronger connection.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm fine with him going to sulk by himself here.
I mean, yeah,
it's been a long day. He needs that. So.
Well, yeah, he's having to host a Christmas party that he was adamantly against. And everything, top of everything else.
Yeah.
And having to deal with all these people that he that basically like harassed him for.
Yeah, he has to suddenly treat them like they're friends.
Yeah,
it's problematic.
And I mean,
which again,
he's got a lot of reasons to be upset right now.
Oh yeah, which is also more problematic that they're supposedly supposed to come over every Christmas, but it's just
well, okay, since we kind of glossed over it before, I don't think he invites his neighbors every year because when she said her friends were busy and couldn't make it, she said, "Let's invite the neighbors." He's like, "No, I'm not doing that," which to me meant they don't invite the neighbors.
I thought, well, Vic makes a comment like he's been there every year earlier in the film. Like, oh, you guys are going to throw your Christmas party again this year for us? Or something like that.
It could, what, that whole thing about
the neighborhood can acknowledge he has a party, but it doesn't mean they participate.
But I think, like, I think that what he meant with that line, or, like, I don't want to buy, was probably because for that whole month, yeah, they've been treating him like shit. So he's like, I'm not gonna invite those fucking people over.
Yeah, there's a level of like, regardless of whether he invited them over regularly, there's enough in this film to justify why he wouldn't want them here to begin with.
Yeah,
they would have always had to have been this obsessive, though.
Well, every year it wouldn't matter because they would have put up the frosting, they would have celebrated normally anyway.
Yeah, that's like a thing.
That would have had to have started one year, though. Vic probably would have had to have come up to Luther and be like, all right, now that you're part of this community, you got to know these traditions and actually uphold them here.
I don't see that's
now are these neighborhoods during Christmas. That there was this one street I used to go to that celebrated Christmas, and I knew someone who lived there, and it was in their contract living there that they had to put up Christmas decorations to live there.
I kind of know a similar thing, yeah.
If they did that here, this would be a little bit better, but they never covered that it was a contractual obligation to celebrate Christmas in the street. So Luther would definitely have to see the weird side of this street other than just this year.
Well,
I think.
What an HOA meeting that would have been.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I would have.
The greater good.
It's for the greater good.
Greater good. I don't know. It's a whole thing of like, I'm sure probably, you know, especially Luther probably, you know, was a little off put by the, you know, the over, you know, the exaggeration of like the love of Christmas and all that thing. But I do think it's something though, like where you don't really realize how like into it, you know, or like how much of it is a part of like the thing until you're kind of like outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know people that are like that were like super like raised like super hyper like religious, and you know that was like normal. But then as soon as like they get out of it, it's like, you know, and they kind of like have, you know, to people around that aren't, or you know, they're like, you know, a normal thing. I'm not saying normal, but you know what I mean. Like
yes,
they just get out of it. They just realize like how different and how kind of like, you know, not how weird, but you know how like kind of like that level of commitment to a singular thing can kind of be like off-putting. So I don't know. I could see it going either way. That's the long and short of it.
I guess I have a question to get us into the next scene.
Get a question out there.
Do
yes,
you
please.
think it was a good idea or a bad idea that the gift that Luther takes over to Walt and Bev is the only hickory honey ham in the house?
He
his wife doesn't want
about his daughter.
Yeah. The wife said no talk of hickory honey ham ever again. So there you go. No more hickory honey ham.
But he knows.
I think it just highlights his ignorance of both how much he knows of Walt and how much he knows of like how much it matters to his daughter. Like he doesn't care. So it's like you know, the first gesture that you make is awkward and stumbling because the growth part is that he doesn't know how to be a good person. So this is his first attempt at it. So I think that in concept is fine that he would do the hickory ham first. I think there's plenty of I have a lot of more problems with the character work that's developed him to want to do this in the first place.
Yeah,
but
to piggyback off a writer, it does make sense that like because he's sort of realizing that he's not been like, you know, being appreciated, you know, and like he's not doing what he should be doing, I guess, in the situation, which is being, you know, courteous to like these people that, you know, took the time out to help him, even though they had harassed him, which is not going to resolve that here with this, but I'm just going to, you know, point out that does happen. And so he, you know, it's like, well, I'm going to do something nice, but since he's so you know, not used to doing something just for the sake of being nice, he kind of fumbles it, and it's not, you know, the best, you know, gesture. He's trying. And then he, you know, realizes that, okay, I do have an honest, good gesture that I can do here that means more than what I just did, and, you know, changes it. So
I have a hard time thinking that angle because every year he's done charity work, right? He's given money.
His wife's done charity work.
He buys the calendars. He's usually all in on this Christmas stuff. So it'd be weird that just this year is now like, you know what? I'm not doing anything Christmas.
Well, we've already been over this.
I'm not. Yeah, but we haven't established his previous history before this where he was all Christmas. He was fine with this.
The reason we haven't touched on that is because we don't have anything.
Shouldn't really exist because he presumably was into Christmas before this with Blair.
I mean, he probably just doesn't like Walt, and he probably just, I don't know, he's probably realizing that he's just being spiteful and there's not really a specific reason, you know, behind any of it. He's just doing it because just doesn't want to do Christmas. I don't know.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I think his spitefulness is absolutely justified. Like I said, the character work to get him here is not congruent with what we have. Like, I'm okay with him bringing Hickory Honeyham to bring it back to the original question, just because he doesn't know how to be a good person yet. That's what they want it to go for. That's why it's awkward. So like he's still messing something up while he's doing something good. The problem is just, as I say, it's just not congruent with what we have for his character.
Well, yeah, because he's and to give you or to go with what you were saying, Crimson. Yeah, it makes no sense why he would have a complete 180-degree character change if he's been doing it year after year after year, the past couple of years, and then to just kind of be out of it. I guess it doesn't make any sense, which is why
right for commercialism story. This story was, or horror, one of the two.
Was that a Yodaism?
Didn't mean for it to be, but you know what? It came out as it, so I'm gonna say yes.
It was good. Yeah, I don't know. But what is the gift that he does give?
Well,
a ham.
Yeah, he gives a ham, and then he turns back. And to me, when Ryder said there's 10 minutes of this movie that he really enjoyed, I thought this part right here was the 10 minutes he was talking about.
Yes, 9 minutes and 30 seconds of it is here, yes.
Okay. This is my favorite shot in the movie, and I think my favorite scene in the movie.
Yes.
Of Luther in the middle of the road deciding like to go back to the party or give a gift to Walt and Bev.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very nice. I also like how the shot of him centering the road, he's not centered. He isn't like in between the two. He's more on the left-hand side still at Walt's house.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. Yeah, that's one of the screenshots I actually did manage to get. So, this is my favorite part of the movie as well.
And compared to the rest of the movie, this feels like a completely different movie.
Absolutely, absolutely does.
That's what I said earlier, that I think they worked backwards. That they had this ending, and then tried to fill up the space.
They had the ending and nothing else.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because I actually think this ending, capped with a great film, would have made a great film. Because this right here in isolation, like this whole 10-minute scene, or 9 minutes 30 seconds, whatever, is, I think, really, really powerful. It gets across a very, very potent message that I think is important for holidays. Is and just being a good person in general is just, you have to be giving, for a fair portion. Just to be a good person, you have to have a giving nature, and some form of fashion. Yeah. You're obviously they exaggerated, but that's the point of story. You're making a point. So, I think that this 10 minutes is a hallmark of the potential that this film could have reached, and I think it's just a shame because the rest of the film like lets these 10 minutes down almost. Because if the rest of the film had built to this properly, I would have walked away thinking this is one of the better Christmas movies of all time, rather than it being one of the worst. And that to me is the crux of why I don't like this movie. Is this puts it all in perspective of what it could have been.
It wasn't all bad because of this, which is the real shame, that they had the capability of actually achieving this and showing that they could do it. Yeah. Which makes it initially worse.
Which makes it worse because, like I said, in isolation, this scene is wonderful. It's beautiful. It just has nothing supporting it in the film.
Yeah, there's no actual character arc that would sort of supplement this in some way. There's no like kind of real growth other than just the fact of like the writers just had him just do it basically. I mean, there's really nothing else.
Yeah, of Luther, of course.
Yeah, of Luther.
I do think it still fit with Walt because he seemed apprehensive about it. Like there's a big change in Walt, or a big change in Luther, and Walt was, very apprehensive about it, trying to make excuses.
I do think that's in character for Walt because of their adversarial relationship for the most part of the film.
Well, yeah,
I
he's
really
expecting
Walt still through this. And at the end, he's like, "Do we have to be nice to each other?" And it's like, "Nah." And I'm like, I like this whole character of Walt. Luther, complete, big change.
Mm-hmm.
That is not fitting overall, but.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I think you can do nice things for people you don't even like. It's not the preferred way to do it, but I mean,
like I said, that could have been a message the film was trying to go for. Like if you're, to be kind to people that normally you don't like, even on like when days are like this, like especially on holidays, because holidays are rough times for lots of people, and like being kind to someone you're normally not nice to, it can be a message of the film, but that also really isn't incorporated in Luther's journey, which sucks.
Those are some of the best like character moments for me. Is if the good guy helps the bully and the bully gets a little bit of a hit of niceness, I guess, when they're realizing, man, I've been picking on this guy and he still is being kind to me. Those are usually the most satisfying type of character journeys that I enjoy, which is why I really like this part with Walt. Walt is my favorite character from this.
Yeah, I pretty much walked away with the same thing.
He doesn't care who knows it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Old man. I never did look at the age difference, though.
It's probably...
We're 10 years apart. I'm like, is it 10? I feel like there's more.
Probably 20.
Didn't look into it.
You didn't look into it.
And then they add in a joke of Ned frozen on the roof.
Hey, it fits.
This was actually one of the jokes I felt fit tonally, because now that you had a serious scene, it's a slower transition going back, and it is set up by him calling Luther's name as he's going across the street for the first time.
Frosty?
It's Frosty.
When Blair is coming around in the cop car, Vic does tell him to hide.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there is some setup here for the joke. And and tonal clashes usually I have a lot of issue with that, specifically because of Rian Johnson. But
and just Marvel recently.
Yeah,
there's about a 15-year difference between Tim Allen and the actor who played Walt.
Yeah. So I was okay with the joke just because they still allowed the scene to breathe. In of itself, so we still had the high of the scene, because when Luther leaves to cross the street, we stay with Walt. Like, he looks down at the the pamphlet in his hand, and then he gets a big smile on his face, and then walks back inside. So we have that moment where the scene is left to breathe, so it's not a direct tonal clash, which is good.
And then they have to, just make it awful by putting in the burglar story.
Yeah, that's what.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring it back to the burglar.
Yeah, and
hey, what are you doing? What about your kids?
You promised.
You swore on your kids. What kids?
That's when I got annoyed at the movie. I'm like, oh man, you got me really happy for like a solid 10 minutes. It's going to waste now.
And then we get to find the reveal that Marty's Santa.
Yeah, he knocks out the burglar.
Yeah. Arrest him.
And he took time to change into his outfit somewhere in the party.
Oh, magic. That's all I will say.
Okay.
Yeah, we can literally write that off as magic, unfortunately.
For going throughout that he's Santa, which we've all agreed he is, I'm gonna go magic.
Okay.
Good enough, yeah.
He has a flying car. Okay.
He's a flying car.
Change outfits.
He has a flying car. I have a flying car. We all have flying cars.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else? I feel like
really.
Nora sees Luther outside, and they just it's
oh.
weird. Everyone's inside with the party, and Nora and Luther are the only two outside in the cold, looking in on everyone.
I actually like that. I like the scene in concept. I feel like Nora's lines, maybe I was wrong about you. I feel like that was a little too on the nose. I feel like she would have said, "I'm proud of you." And I think that would have been more in character.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That to me would have been enough, I think, to convey the point, I suppose, if we can call it that, the film's goal. And I'm kind of a sucker for the scenes for what people are looking in and everyone else being happy. In the way that some of my favorite scenes in Ruby are Ozpin and Glinda having very serious conversations around all the kids who are having fun. It always those to me, I'm a kind of a sucker for those. So I kind of like this scene. It is a little odd, but I mean, the idea is that they're reconnecting, I suppose. So I was okay with it.
Oh, we didn't say what the gift he gave to Walt was.
The cruise.
Oh yeah,
cruise. He gave Bevan Walt the cruise.
Sorry, got lost into my rambling.
Bev was cheerful.
And for the quote-unquote running gag of him and the cat, he said he'd accept watching over the cat while they're gone.
Is the cat dead by day 10? What do you think?
I think it would be that SpongeBob episode where Squidward has to look over Gary and like ignores him and then sees him like almost dead.
Probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, I'd agree.
All right, well, is that it?
Yeah, does anybody have any closing remarks?
We see, as Crimson pointed out, a CGI Frosty waving goodbye, and then Marty, Santa flying away in his bug.
Pulled by
which
reindeer.
Makes me think, is there magic in this movie? Is Frosty's like face changing and like his red eyes real? Is this just a trick that Marty's playing on in the background to get Luther to change?
Who knows? That's half the fun.
Movie's not consistent enough in either way for me to commit. But I'm leaning towards magic because it will help justify other things.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with magic as well. Reluctantly.
Reluctantly crouched at the starting line.
It had like no presence in this at all. When it totally could have, like we mentioned earlier, Marty could have actually had a presence in this, pushing things along, but he didn't. Nope, just the umbrella bit, which wasn't very good anyways.
Which is a shame.
'Tis a shame.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Time for, I guess, closing remarks and rating. So I guess we'll just go in order here. Ryder?
All right. You said you want me to do them together?
Yeah, if you have any, I mean, if you just have, you don't have to have any closing remarks, but if you want to, put anything in there, you're good.
Yeah, as I said at the beginning, like I said, the 10 minutes worthwhile of this film are at the end. I really have a soft spot for holiday movies in general. Obviously, I love horror for Halloween and stuff like that, and I love Christmas movies because Christmas movies are supposed to make you feel good, But in terms of just subjectively, I think the movie. I didn't enjoy watching the movie. I don't think I'm gonna. It wasn't worth suffering through the first hour and 25-ish minutes to get to a scene that I thought was decent. Even if it stumbles in places and that scene is stumbling. Even that scene is not perfect, but it still brought everything to a decent emotional high that I really, the kind of message I actually do like to get from Christmas movies. It just wasn't worth it to get there, which is a shame, because I try to like holiday movies. So I think subjectively, it's probably going to be 3.5. With only that one scene, really, just that I personally felt like I was enjoying myself with. Objectively, oh god. I have been going back and forth on this for a bit in my head since we started the pod. Um, the plot is a mess. The tone is a mess, and to kind of break those two down, they kind of intertwined. The comedy is not really well written. There's no setup to the jokes. The jokes just sort of happen, and I guess they expect us to laugh. There's some that work, and they're very rare. Like Snowman Frosty being dragged by a noose was funny in a metatextual sense. In that, like I smirked at it. I don't think I die hard laughed at anything. There's a few throwaway lines that were funny. The suicide comment that Tim Allen's character Luther makes when he's hanging upside down was kind of funny. So, but for the most part, the comedy just doesn't land, which is a shame. And a lot of it is just because I don't think the jokes weren't well written enough to like they weren't supported in the scene, and neither were they supported in the way the cinematography did things. Because I do think there is a way the Botox joke might have worked if we were just focused on Nora the whole time, and at the very end we saw what she was looking at. But it's one of those things where the joke just was played out far too much and far too long. I think the plot as well is also a bit of a mess, just because the first 45 minutes, 50-ish minutes of this film you get strong cult vibes. It delves into some horror aspects just by the nature of how the town is reacting to them skipping Christmas. And I don't think it works well enough, again, to justify what they do. It's very, very absurd, the town. And none of it helps to build into the corporeal message of what they want to do. Because nothing really... And what there is to support the selfish interest message being bad is contradicted in other parts of the film. And then the characters are... I like Marty. Not Marty. Walt. Thank you. I like Walt a lot. Marty was okay, but I'm kind of in agreement with Crimson that he needed to have a larger presence in the story in order for me to get a more justified opinion of him. I found all the main characters unlikable outside of Walt. Either they were too absurd in their approach to their character, or they were very, very one-dimensional. And as I mentioned, for the main character, Luther, the character journey is just not there at the end, which is a shame. And I don't think this movie's particularly well written. Which, again, is just a shame. I think the 10 minutes at the end are good, but that's it. So I think, objectively, I'm still sitting between a 3 and a 4. So I'm going to go with 3.5 as well. So I'm going to match my subjective for this one.
I guess I will go next, since Sinister said order.
Mm-hmm.
So after I watched this, I checked to see what the general ratings were for this. And for Rotten Tomatoes, the critics gave it a 5%.
Jesus Christ!
And the audience gave it 34. So pretty telling on the general consensus of this film is that it's not very good. So I'm glad I fell in line with the audience for once, because I'm usually again the opposite. Yeah, it was not very entertaining. It was kind of painful seeing like their bigger jokes, like the tanning and the Botox, fall so flat, because you can tell they tried. They're like, this is going to be funny. The audience are going to love this. And then in execution, like, oh man, that is cringy because they tried.
Yeah, makes it worse.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate when you see a comedy fail at comedy. Shield.
Boy.
So that is unfortunate. I guess I'll throw out my objective score first. Ryder covered pretty much everything I had, but so I agree with everything he said. And I do think the background characters, the really one-note ones that just have their name, were okay for conveying this cult-like village, which is pretty much what you have to accept this world as. If you take it as a real-world setting, then this movie literally has no legs at all.
Yeah. We're giving it the benefit of the doubt here.
Yes. Going forward, this is what the writers want, which I'm pretty sure it is. So I'll give them that. They at least succeeded in the cultish vibes they're going for. And I will say my objective did change during this podcast. I was originally going to give it a 4.5. I am now giving it a 4. Because I didn't really think too much about Luther's previous history on Christmas when going into this, and taking into account that makes him even worse to me. And we got pretty in depth about the messaging of this, which I already didn't like, but you guys made me think even more on it, which made it even worse. Just nothing really goes right in the writing department towards characters or anything. I will say the camera work. There's a couple good instances, like him in the middle of the street, the frosty bit I brought up earlier. There was a pan through the street at one point with all the houses lit up except his, and we see Walt
through the street, and they followed it. It was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's some okay. It's pretty average camera work, but there's some good here and there with some creativity points. The sound design, as limited as it is okay. There was that one really bad Frosty sound bite. The CGI is pretty bad. I can't think of any instance of it being good. We got the cat being frozen with those horrible eyes. Oof.
They looks like they
it looks like it was just a figure.
Yeah, it looks like they stressed the PNG for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's something we could make on Final Cut. You just get 2 yellow eye shapes and an eyeball and keyframe it. Boom. Just as good. Yeah, all the CG in this is bad. I think even for 2004. Tim Allen falling, I think for 2004 looks good, but it still looks bad because it's 2004 visuals.
Yeah.
So in that regard's good. It's not so good. What else do I want to comment? I mean, I guess the carolers looked okay in their outfits.
Hey, yeah.
So yeah,
Ripping the bottom barrel here.
Hey, I got it. We spent like 4 hours on this. I got to look for some positives. We can cover that money. So 4 objectively. Subjectively, I'm trying to think if I enjoyed this as much as the Nutcracker in the Four Realms. Because right now in my head, I'm feeling the same, but for different reasons. Because Nutcracker in the Four Realms was a whole lot of nothing, I described. This, I found a little bit more engaging than Nutcracker in the Four Realms. So I think I might give it half a point more. So I'll give it a 4.5 as well. Well, actually, no. My original was 4.5. 4 objective, 4.5 subjective. There we go. Done. Mic drop. Sinister.
Yeah, there's really not. I mean, it's pretty much been covered. I guess like all the stuff that I generally when we have something to watch, I can usually get through it in one sitting. This took me a couple to get through it.
Fair enough.
Forgot that. I got up 4 times during this.
I had to every 30 minutes I had to pause it. Basically, I was just like, "Oh God, please get me through this." I was like, let me watch something good on something else for a little bit and then come back to this. But yeah, I like the idea in my head that I thought this movie was about more movie.
That's fair.
I think I would have made it. I think I would have made a better movie with my idea. Yeah, I mean, like pretty much with the exception of like the underused like background characters, everybody's pretty unlikable. The story and character development doesn't make sense most of the time because they don't really commit to anything. The ending itself is fine. It does have some merits to it that writer touched on, and that I agree with. But it's almost kind of like those kind of like rushing to get to the store, and and having like all this crap happen to you, and running over stuff, and all
Yeah, it's great in isolation, but you have to think about it in the context of the story. It sucks.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, my fudge pops. They have the last box of my fudge pops. What a miracle! And it's like, oh yeah, but I ran over a dude. My car broke down. Like all this other stuff on the top. It's like, wow, but at least the ending was good. So, there's some decent things in here. We defended a little bit. Like the ideas themselves are not totally bad. It's just the problem with it, like their execution is just not there, and there's no. So I have to. I was gonna give this a 3, but I gave Nutcracker and the Four Realms a 3. And honestly, I enjoyed that more than this, so this is a 2.
Damn.
All right.
Nice.
I like it. Cutthroat. Springs.
Egads.
I've been excited for this.
Springs
Let's
gets to go last.
I've been
Okay.
excited.
What do I start with? Objective or subjective? I'll start with objective.
It doesn't matter. It's going to be in the next recap, anyways.
Yeah.
Probably.
No matter what I say here, Lightyear's going to get connected to it somehow.
Hey, we didn't say it. You said it. Come on.
So, I will say, with the discussion we've had, I dropped my objective scale by 1 point.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Because the conversation of how Luther has had Christmases in the past, how, there's magic in this movie that never really gets used, which is odd. How Luther feels about his daughter is weird. He seems to have more of a relationship connection to Walt than his own daughter, which just
more
seems
time with Spike.
Yeah. Well, we never saw Luther tackle his daughter when she got home.
Yeah, that would have changed things.
So, but as I don't necessarily want to repeat what Crimson said, but I do kind of agree with most of the parts where the writing of the story, especially being based off of a book, could have been, I think, way more smoother than it was, and I think they just added in more scenes of jokes to make it more of a comedy than if they made it a little more like a family drama kind of feel, to make it a little more serious and get the tone across to make that ending fit far better, because nothing about that ending was funny. There was no comedic bits in it or anything. I guess one might say like Walt and Bev trying to come up with excuses is kind of like a funny thing, but to me that was like very serious.
Pretty much just the cat part.
Yeah, and I think that was the best, as we've kind of discussed, the best scene in the movie, and that was like not funny. So I think that would have definitely tightened the movie better. We talked about how the typewriter music thing where Luther's doing all the numbers and everything fit very well and was edited nicely, and I think that was really good. And then later on they tried to do that same thing with picking up Blair and Enrique from the airport with the music editing, and it was horrible. So it's a balance that was off to me with editing. I really like. I mean, it's a Christmas movie, but the setting is very nice. I like that everywhere they went, the restaurant, the hospital, the grocery store, everything was Christmas set. There was nothing that was like kind of like half-assed done. Every house that they went into and were around, which was, oh God, 5 or more houses that they had to decorate in different styles of Christmas attire. I thought the setting and props and costume department that was great. But yeah, mostly because of the history of Luther and just how weird Luther is as a character in this movie and off-putting as Nora to me was fine. She basically wanted Christmas this whole time, and she's just a loud, Christmas-loving lady who's very enthusiastic about a lot of things, which reminds me of absolutely no one in my life. But overall, because of what was said, I did drop it by a point. So objectively, I'm giving it a 4.5 because there is more things wrong with this movie than what it did good, in my eyes. Subjectively, as I said, I've seen this movie probably at least 8 times now. I don't think it's a necessarily bad entertainment-wise movie to watch. After seeing it, multiple times, at least for me, the jokes don't land. And, for you guys on your first viewing, it didn't land, so it's probably even worse on your part. But I think it's still just a fun little movie for, festive time to watch. And it's fine. So I give it a 6.5 subjectively.
See, that's funny. That's funny. Because before we started recording, all you were talking about was, oh, it's bad. Oh, it's real bad.
Well, that was mostly me.
You did.
Oh,
you talking about like
you were talking about how much you can enjoy it, and I just went, ooh.
I thought you.
I don't remember giving my thoughts on it at the beginning,
okay,
but
I feel like I should add the caveat that if for some reason ever do watch this again, I'm pretty sure my objective rating will drop.
It's fair. I'm not surprised.
Right.
Spinks, I do have one question for
Oh.
you.
yes.
Since this is a family tradition, how do your family view this? Do they have a negative point of view as well on this, or pretty much just like it as a whole, generally?
Pretty much as a whole, they enjoy it. It's not as I said, it's not a traditional thing of like, oh, let's watch Christmas the Cranks. It's like, oh yeah, great. It's not never one of those choices, but it's a movie. If like one person wants to watch it and puts it on, the rest of us will kind of sit around and watch it with. But I don't think anyone in my movie or no one in my family really hates the movie.
No one in my movie is a family.
But something I will say, Tim Allen, Luther Crank sucks. Scott Calvin wins.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't think that's very controversial.
No.
Well, if that's everything, shall I close this out?
I think that's everything. Yeah.
All right.
Close out.
Yeah.
Hopefully we choose better movies next year.
I know. Yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody. Do we have any happy notes to leave this on?
Happy notes.
It definitely took place on Christmas.
There is that.
I'm
not saying about the film. I'm not saying about the film. Sorry, I'm not saying about the film specifically.
In the Christmas season, it wasn't in January. It wasn't.
Okay, actually, here's a fun question. What's everyone's favorite Christmas Eve meal? Your favorite Christmas Eve dinner. What do you guys like to eat on Christmas Eve? If you have a tradition for Christmas Eve.
I don't think I necessarily have a Christmas Eve meal. I have a Christmas meal.
Ah, all right. Well, that counts.
Meal.
That checks out. What is it?
It's not hickory honey ham, but it is a ham. Usually with pineapples and cherries for flavoring. Mashed potatoes, gravy from the ham drippings, broccoli cheese casserole, a fruit salad with like not mushroom, what the hell, marshmallows in it, buttered rolls, sometimes I don't know what it's called. It's some kind of like sweet potato casserole with like pecans on top and honey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's just on his plate, though. That's not all the food that's present.
No,
on his
no, that's just all for me.
All right, what about you, Sinister? You got one?
I'm trying to generally it's different now because I used to go to my my extended family's house, but because of COVID and everything, we've been doing it a little bit more locally.
Yeah.
But so we used to be like ham. I think sometimes we do honey baked, and I didn't really like that, so we do just the standard ham, mashed potatoes, obviously. Some I think we did sweet potatoes once or a few times. Some asparagus and all that stuff. And my grandpa, he does which I like turkey better. I like turkey more than I like turkey and I like ham. But I think if I had a choice, I'd rather have the. So yeah, and then of course dessert pumpkin pie.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's always nice.
Mhm.
And Crimson.
No, I don't have a tradition. I just make whatever I want to eat.
Cool Mac.
That's fair.
2 years ago, I made macaroni that was supposed to be red and green, but turned out being pink and green, even though I put a whole bunch of red dye in that thing.
It was lightish red.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Thank you.
That makes sense because mac and cheese is a very, very light color. So
Yeah.
I guess for me, I typically do not really traditional, but I like fancy turkey with mashed potatoes, kind of like a Thanksgiving 2.0 almost. We kind of do we do a similar meal. Lots of rolls and potato, lots of carbs, corn on the cob.
Corn on the cob. Oh.
And then otherwise, if it's not the turkey, we fancy cook our chicken either through a charcoal grill or just oven bake it in a.
I'm more of a fan of the oven baked turkey, but I have had charcoal grilled. Yeah, it's pretty good too.
Yeah.
You guys do the Hawaiian rolls?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yes. It kind of depends. We mix it up with
Thanksgiving.
We kind of mix it up on the Hawaiian rolls things. Whether they're just be normal rolls, sourdough rolls, or sometimes we do garlic rolls, which is fun.
Yeah, sometimes I think I've had the Pillsbury croissant rolls.
Oh, we used to do croissant. Yeah, croissant rolls every year for Thanksgiving.
Do a bunch. Do get a basket full of 30 of them.
Yes. They'd be gone in 5 minutes tops. They'd just be inhaled.
Yeah, just so we didn't leave, our audience on such a dour note.
We're not a bunch of Scrooges. Yeah, we like Christmas.
Yeah,
just didn't care for this movie.
It's turned into a food podcast.
Yeah.
Did you guys leave any reindeer food out for Santa to give?
Yes,
like a carrot. Yeah, I used to do that.
I used to leave carrot out with my
usually
cookies.
get lettuce.
Do carrot and a cookie.
Yeah. You can find us as always on Amazon, Castbox, Pocket Casts, and Google, and Samsung, and Anchor, and Spotify. Just conquering the world every now and again with the amount.
Wherever podcasts are had, we're there.
In theory, we will one day.
Or will be.
Yeah. And got the visual medium as well. If you want to check out our YouTube channel or check out our socials or bother us on LetterBox, we appreciate it.
Yeah. We're always happy to get an outside opinion.
Yeah. As always, I've been a geeky writer.
I'm Crimson Maroon.
I've been a character called Sinister Boy.
And I'm Sprinks.
Happy holidays, folks, and we will catch you
Happy holidays
next time.
Happy holidays and a happy new year.
Ho, ho, ho.
Later, everybody.
Bye.
Toodaloo.